Hey Dave, we fucked everything up again. God damn it.
How you doing, everybody? This is episode 5 of the Chinese Cartoon Cast. We are here today talking about the Monogatari franchise. I am alright. We have our lovely group of boys here.
Men.
Dr. Faust, Ringo,
Hello.
and Mr. Flame. Yeah, I think we want to start off with what we've been watching lately. If anybody has been watching anything.
I was told to give Gamers another shot, so I've been rewatching Gamers. And the
Gamers, interesting.
yeah, the second half is way better than the first 4 episodes.
That's like a rom-com about people who play video games, right? I
Right.
thought it was a Game World show at the beginning of the season.
You could literally take the games out and make them chess nerds, and it would still work. It's very loosely based. It's based on misconceptions, oh, he's a nerd. Well, actually, he's not, and stuff like that.
That's kind of cool. Second half is better though.
Yeah, I gave up at episode 4, and then people were like, "Oh, it's the best anime of the season." And I was like, "What?" So I started rewatching it, and then episode 5 through 8 was okay, this is a show.
Yeah, from my non-airing armchair, it's the anime of the season discussion has been kind of interesting this season. A lot of very varied responses, at least from what I've seen.
Seems
Seems
like everyone thinks everyone thinks everything is shit.
Well, Maid of Abyss seems to have really fallen off the hype train.
Yeah, that's weird. I was actually excited about that, and everybody was saying it was cool. So, might not watch it now. But, is anybody else watching anything recently?
I've recently watched, gotten halfway through both Fuka and Bang Dream.
Okay. I don't think I've heard of either of those.
They're both music shows. Fuka's
Oh yeah, Fuka with the blue hair
Fuka's
chick.
generally known for something with a truck that never comes up, actually.
Okay.
Really.
Wait,
and
Sorry, as in Truck-kun?
yes,
Okay.
apparently someone gets run over by a truck, but they
Dope.
don't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
not
the
dope.
big twist. And everybody fucking hates it and says it's awful. I actually,
Sorry, it looks like it's done by, story-wise, the same guy who did God, what was that one? God, it's gonna. Hold on, I'm gonna find it and then post it in the chat. You can tell me if that's what it is.
All right.
Alright.
I've been watching
whoa,
a few
hold
things
up.
lately. Oh, no, you're not done? I'm sorry.
I haven't even said anything about Bang Dream,
Oh, go
the
for
greatest
Bang
anime ever made.
Dream, then. I've never heard of it. It sounds interesting.
I was really surprised by it. It's I think it's the same sort of thing as Love Live, where it's sort of based on a game that they were trying to push, so they made an anime for it. But it's quite a bit better.
So, just barely not shit, or actually good?
We're pissing off all the Idol fans this episode.
Well-
Yeah, fuck the Idol fans.
Controversial
Oh, boy.
opinion. I actually like it better than K-On!
Ah, okay.
Wow. All right. I know who's off the podcast. I'm talking to Dave about that one.
You're not Digibro in disguise.
No.
By the way, it was Suzuka that reminded me of that show, which I don't know if anyone
interesting.
remembers that show.
Nope.
What?
Maybe if I looked at the cover art.
The character models are super similar.
The character in the summary has the same last name as the
There you go.
character in Fuka.
Yeah, there we go, yeah.
She looks pretty similar too, actually.
Yes, yes.
This
that's
might be the same show.
Well, what
We've discovered
Suzuka
a
is about
spinoff.
track and running and stuff, and Fuka is about music, right?
at the point I am in Fuka, which is like episode 8 or 9 or so, it's honestly not that bad. I think the only reason that people hate it is because their perfect little fucking waifu girl doesn't win.
Oh, of course.
Childhood friend?
Of course.
Yes. Of course.
Childhood friend never wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you play the VN, then the childhood friend always
Yeah,
wins.
unless you can actually pick the route.
Or if all the options are childhood friends, like in
That's true.
Nisekoi.
That's too
But
many
still,
childhood
worst
friends.
girl still won.
All right. I've been watching a bunch of stuff, or a few things lately. I watched the first episode of Joshiraku. I don't think it's my show.
Aww. Damn, that's a shame.
I liked the one meta bit that everybody clips out and posts everywhere. And I thought the OP and ED were super catchy. The characters are cute, but a lot of the stuff they were talking about was just kind of uninteresting. I kept watching. I watched 2 or 3 more episodes of Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei, which was still good, but I'm still not really 100% sold on it yet. Which is fine. I'm certainly not going to drop it, but
it's aesthetically so nice.
yeah, it is. That's the reason I probably would never drop it, because it is just so cool visually. I started rewatching Shirobako a couple days ago too. I'm like 5 episodes into that or whatever, and solid rewatch. But yeah, that's about all I've been doing lately.
I forgot to mention that due to the Fate cast, I went and watched Carnival Phantasm.
Oh, excellent.
It was
Fantastic.
so good. It was
Yes.
so good.
Yeah.
It is an amazing show. Everyone should watch it if they like Fate, or even if they don't.
I was confused when they brought up what's the other VN that they cover in the film?
The Tsukihime stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when I first read Fate, I was like, oh, what's this other one? I played 30 minutes of that VN. I was like, okay, this is not for me. And I was like, these characters look really familiar.
That's funny. All right. Anybody else got any last thoughts on watching before we move on to the topic?
Nah.
No, I've watched fuck all. I've been traveling pretty much nonstop for 2 weeks, which was fun.
All right.
Get ready to go back. Back to a time when everything was perfect. The music was hot, and the girls were hotter. And a guy with a cool bike could get laid all summer long.
So, we're going to start talking about Monogatari now. I think what we kind of wanted to do was go through our personal experiences with the series, and then transition into talking about each installment, and then going through like that. So spoilers will come as we start talking about each individual installment.
Chronological order, right?
Yeah, I think I want to do release order. I think that makes sense, but
Okay.
we could talk about chronologically too if you want. I'd rather talk about Bake first, though.
I mean, I have a controversial opinion about the watching order.
All right. Well, why don't
Okay.
you run us through your history with Monogatari, touch on that, and then we'll go from there.
Well, in the first episode, I think I listed it as my 3rd or 4th favorite series of all time. So,
Oh, wow.
so I kind of
Okay.
love it a lot. Yeah, it's kind of up there.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
I started watching it, I think, when 2nd season just started airing. And everyone was not shutting up about it. So I went through and watched it, and I was like, I think I dropped it in the 1st season in Bakemonogatari, episode 4 or something.
Mhm.
And then about a year later, I decided to rewatch on a whim, and then I shotgunned everything that was available at the time. I was in love with it.
Very cool. Somebody want to go next? Talking about how they feel about the show or series.
Well, I actually started off thinking that Bake was nothing but a shitty fan service show.
I knew we would
basically-
have one.
Because, everyone, the things people post aren't,
Yeah.
the like the 20-minute long monologues or the
Toothbrush.
the fucking starry
Yeah.
sky scene. It's the
People like
toothbrush.
to-
They post
yeah.
the toothbrush. They post
People like to
Kanbaru
accentuate
throwing
the
off
lewd
all her
shit.
clothes, or Araragi molesting Hachikuji. Like,
Mhm.
that's what people seem to care about. And so at first, that was all my exposure to it. And so I went like probably 6 months or a year between when I actually first heard about it and when I was sat down and forced to watch it by my university's anime club. And that was basically just and then basically I just instantly fell in love as soon as probably the first arc ended. And then Kanbaru happened, and I fell even more in love because
Excellent.
Kanbaru
We
is
will get
great.
to the best girl discussion. For sure.
I think it's just the same with like every other show where the meme shit comes out in online discussions just because it's easy to talk about instead of like the deep stuff.
It's hard for people to talk about nuance and the storytelling. It's easy to shitpost memes.
It was
So,
like that's why era manga was so popular.
Well, era manga seemed popular in the same way that Mahoka was. Like, people liked watching it to just talk shit about it. It seemed to me.
Yeah. Flame, you want to go next?
Yes. So I started watching Bake because, I heard it was great and it looked really pretty and stuff. Got about 2 episodes in, dropped it. Came back to it months later, got about 5 episodes in, dropped it. Came back to it later it was about this time last year. And I watched the entire thing up to Owari in about a week.
All right.
Wow.
I'm not sure what happened.
It just kind of clicked for you.
Your taste got better.
I guess. Yeah, that's what it was.
That's basically how I was with Gurren Lagann. I just kept starting it and stopping it, and then eventually I finished it.
Yeah, I definitely think that can happen sometimes, even with really good shows. Is you'll watch it, you'll be like, it either won't be like what your expectations were, or it is like what you expected, but is different or weird in some way. And then if you give it a couple tries, and then something just clicks, and you're in love with it. That happens to me on occasion.
I have a lot of problems with stuff that doesn't give you a lot of context for what's going on, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And where Bake, I think Bake actually starts out with like a really quick
Yes.
summarization.
Yeah, like 30
Summarization
seconds
It's like
long.
it's
A
Kizu
sort-
in 5 seconds.
Yeah, assortment of frames at light speed.
Yeah, so I was
Yeah.
like, the hell is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of problems with stuff. That's why the bit during Tsubasa Tiger,
Tsubasa.
Yeah.
where there's like 5 different arcs happening at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking hated that.
That's actually one of my favorite sections of the show. So we'll definitely talk about that when we get there. But
Was the anime made for people who were reading the LN, the light novel?
I would imagine that the series. I mean, I'd imagine that Bakemonogatari was made so that people would sell. So that people would buy the light novels. But I'd imagine there's. Well, I mean, I know that there's a sizable anime only fandom in the West, at least.
I'm part of it.
I just
don't
bring it
know.
up just because the way Bake was made, it just seemed like you would be so fucking lost unless you had read the book, because they glossed over a lot of things in the first episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think some of that is like just the artsiness of the show in general. I think that being confused as hell drew a lot of people in that were not necessarily expecting that out of the beginning of the show. So I think it confuses, but I think it also does a good job at setting the viewer's expectations, maybe.
By the way, does anybody know if Kizu was actually published before Bake, like the light novels?
The light novel for Kizu was the second thing released after Bakemonogatari.
Okay, so
it's technically second if you're doing light novel order, which is weird that it didn't get adapted until almost the end. But my experience with the Monogatari series is interesting. I started it, tried to start it like 2 or 3 times, I think, where I watched like maybe the first 2 episodes, I think, right at the end of Sendugahara's first arc there. I made it to about, on my most successful watch, I made it to about, I think the last episode of Hachikuji's arc, which is the second one in Bakemonogatari. And I still didn't really click. And then one day I'm just like, hey, I'm going to watch this. And then pretty much just watched the whole show. Up until, to catch up with Owari right when it started airing was about where I watched Owari First Core, of course. So that's about where I'm coming from on it. A rather big fan. Got to see the Kizu movies in theaters, which was really cool.
Hell
Lucky.
yeah.
Yeah. So if nobody else has anything to say about their personal stories, I think we could probably just go right into talking about Bakemonogatari.
I'd be down with that.
All right. It's an interesting way to start a series, like we alluded to a little bit earlier.
Fucking instantly panty shot.
Yep, the most important panty shot in anime. I will fight anyone on that. Very, very interesting way to start off. If you're not sure of what the significance of the panty shot is, it's like, why am I seeing this right away? But
It's because of that shot that I can't recommend this to like casual anime watchers.
Yeah.
The normies are like, no.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, for sure. It certainly isn't a series that can be recommended easily, at least from my experience. But yeah, Bakemonogatari is pretty good. I think it works well as a kind of character introduction entry. A lot of the arcs, I think, are kind of basic, but I guess that makes sense as the beginning of the story. Seeing what happens later, some of the arcs are like kind of dull in comparison, but that's just me. I know a lot of people love the stuff that happens in Bake.
The writing like really sets a precedent in it, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's the foundation of like all the witty like comebacks and stuff like that that's used later on. Like if they fucked it up, if they fucked it up in the first season, it would maybe not even gotten later adaptations.
Certainly, yeah. The fact that they've gone on to adapt like every novel so far, aside from some of the side stuff, and I guess potential for another adaptation later, but not sure about that. But the fact that they've been able to adapt so much, and Bakemonogatari sold like an ass ton. So if it wasn't a good adaptation, and if people didn't like it, the series would not be an anime. So it certainly is a very high quality show.
Yeah, I definitely agree that it was a lot more set up in the first season, and a lot of the real payoff comes in like season 2. What's the other ones? Like season 2, Hanamono, and like Owari, I guess.
Yeah,
though
I think that's where most of the big payoff is.
Yeah, though as
far as narrative,
I actually significantly preferred Nadeko's arc in Bake to fucking whichever one she shows up next in.
To her arcs in the second season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nadeko's arc is interesting to talk about because
she's the worst character.
Well, I mean,
that is true.
She's set up intentionally to be very shallow, and then the show plays off of your expectations in her later arcs, and delivers on some very interesting character progression. That's my take on it. What's your sorry, Faust. Go ahead.
Well, I guess progression is one way to put it.
Yeah, she certainly changes. So
Yes.
we can get into that when we talk about second season.
Yeah, that's probably a more appropriate topic for then. But yeah, it definitely sets up a lot of. Well, I mean, I guess like I said, like it's a lot of setup. It's a lot of setting up your expectations and then maybe not quite meeting them in the way you think later on.
Yeah, I think that describing Bake as setup is pretty, it's pretty applicable. But I kind of don't want to say that it's set up and then use that to dismiss it, because this show is very good anyway. I don't want to feel like I'm doing this. I'm doing Bake a disservice by saying that. But I think it would be interesting if we want to talk about our favorite arcs from Bakemonogatari. There's like 4 or 5, I think, right?
Yeah, I like the third one the best with
That would be
Yeah, which
Kanbaru,
one? Kanbaru's arc?
Yes.
Kanbaru Monkey.
Yes, I'm bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna butcher all the characters' names,
That's totally
Yeah.
fine.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Judgment.
Correct here.
I loved her arc the most.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. My favorite part about that arc definitely is the fight scene with the Rainy Devil and
Jesus, yeah.
the creative use of colors on the blood. I love that, because that scene could have been like the most gory thing I've ever seen, but even though it is super gory, it didn't feel too disgusting, at least to me. In there are a couple of the scenes in later sections of the show that are super gory irked me a lot more than that one. But yeah. Anybody else got a favorite arc?
I would actually agree that Kanbaru Monkey is probably my favorite. Well, I mean, first of all, I've said Kanbaru is my favorite character. I love her interactions with Araragi and how incredibly perverse they both are. But I think it's kind of an interesting take on, I guess sort of an interesting take on the yandere, that she initially tries to present herself as sort of like a yandere for Araragi, but she's actually like, like deeply, or at least thinks she's deeply in love with Gahara, and then goes to fucking batshit insane when she puts on a raincoat.
Yeah.
And I actually think the fight scene between the Rainy Devil and Araragi was actually kind of uncomfortably gory to me. I don't know if it was probably just because I have a different tolerance for that than you, but I thought that the way they censored it actually made it seem even more brutal.
That's interesting.
Well, or at the very least gave it the implication of being a lot more brutal than it really showed up as, because like the way they presented it is like, this is so bad we can't show you what's actually happening, because she tears out his intestines and starts swinging them through the air. Like, it's pretty fucking brutal.
It definitely is a very brutal scene. There's a few scenes in Kizu I thought were, they definitely grossed me out more, because it was a film. They obviously did not have to censor the gore, or that kind of thing. But yeah, that's an interesting take on it. I liked the fact that they changed the colors on it. I thought that made it different enough where it wasn't super gross, but still was brutal.
It was fucking brutal, man.
Let's see. My favorite arc in Bakemonogatari is probably I think it's probably Mayo's arc, actually. the second one, where we get introduced to Hachukuji and the big reveal that Araragi was the only one seeing her. That fucked me up. That was one of the things that really brought me into the show.
That was pretty great.
Yep.
Because when you rewatch those scenes, Sendugahara acts super weirdly, and Hanekawa also acts kind of differently. She picks up on it faster, but Gahara's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" But you don't really even. She just thinks she's being weird because she has been weird and distant in her own arc a little bit.
Well, Hanekawa could actually see her though.
Oh, did she actually see her? Oh,
yeah, because
right.
she didn't.
That's
want
right.
to go
Yeah,
home
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But I thought that was super cool. We also get one of my favorite confessions in anime. I love you. Super good. Definitely my favorite part about Bake.
And Hachukuji's reaction to it is great as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big fan of the Araragi Hachukuji interactions, even though some people aren't a fan. I still like it. I think it's endearing, even though the subject matter is certainly not something you want to laugh at. But
when they meet in Owari season 2,
yeah,
I cried. I legit cried.
For sure.
It does become endearing eventually. Yeah, like in Owari, but it's still pretty fucking gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can totally see it.
Yeah.
Anybody have any more Bakemonogatari talk? Do we
So,
want to move on,
we
or
not going to talk
do we wanna
about
talk about something
episode 11?
Oh, of course, yes. We
Right.
probably should talk about Starry Sky, huh?
It is the best episode in the series.
I would disagree with that, but I will bring my opinion on that up in
It's-
Owari season 2.
Yeah, it's a great episode.
Yeah.
I think it's adorable, but and it does make me tear up every so often even when I'm rewatching.
I mean, it's
super good.
no Nise episode 7.
Oh, well, nothing's good as that.
Anything is better than Nise episode 7.
Oh.
Jesus fucking Christ.
But yeah, that's a fantastic scene. It makes a lot of people's favorite scene lists. That's the reason that the ED is as memorable as it is. Even though it's a good ED on its own, that scene pushed it over the top for a lot of people.
It's just so hard to like praise Bake enough because it's like at the beginning and it's just setting everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. It feels like we were kind of selling it a bit short just by calling it a setup, but
Yeah,
as good as
definitely
it
don't
is,
want to do
it
that.
kind of is.
Yeah, I think it's still. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but if this wasn't as strong a start as it was, this series would not have all gotten adapted.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
It didn't become the best-selling anime at its time. I think K-On! Beat it, but it used to be the number one in Japan for a while. Yeah, if it didn't sell like that, the rest of the series probably would not have gotten adapted. So I think that it's a very high quality entry. But yeah, any last thoughts on Bake? Do we want to move on, or yeah?
I like. Never mind. Let's just move on.
I like
Actually,
Monogatari.
If I can say
like
one thing,
milk.
I like Shinjo Gahara. No, I really like how they use the openings to sort of set the tones of the different arcs.
That's actually
yeah.
a great
The
point. I
opening-
forgot to talk about the openings.
The openings are like next level on all these.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The most consistently good openings. Just
Yeah, for sure.
Not sure I agree
love-
with that, but I think even the worst of them are very fitting for the show, like fitting for the arcs they're used with.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm a big fan of character songs, so like, like having each character's opening being sung by the voice actress of their own arc and featuring like symbolism and all kinds of stuff related to their arc. Oh, it's just, well, it's fantastic.
Well, except for Shinobu's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except Shinobu's, because she doesn't do character songs, right?
Yeah.
But even hers are a very interesting change of pace from the normal OPs. I think that they did a great job of kind of working around that limitation.
They still fit very well with the characters.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Do we have favorite OPs in Bakemonogatari? We could go through that, too.
Oh, I gotta remember which one it is real quick.
Mine's probably Staple. That's probably my favorite in Bake. Super good.
I'm trying to figure out
Is
which
it
one it
Ambivalent
was.
World? That's the third one?
I'm trying to remember.
Sorry, you mean?
I don't.
Do you mean Kanbars?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna have to pull up a list.
Shit, it's either Ambivalent World or something like Last Days of My Adolescence. I think it's
No, I think
Ambivalent World.
Last Days of My Adolescence is her Hana OP.
Okay, so then Bake is gonna be Ambivalent World. Which is actually one of the ones I was less of a fan of. I think I prefer... what's it called? The Way Home? Kairi Michi for Hachikuji.
Oh yeah,
Ugh. That's weird.
What? You don't like it?
that's a solid one. I like that. For some reason, there's a bunch of her everywhere in that OP.
Yeah.
I thought that it was super cute that she's in a gym class full of herself. Strange.
Mine's a tie between Tsutsuki and Koi. The one, like the old school looking one that looks like 8-bit.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, sorry, Koi?
Yeah. I can list it if you want, but it's like really fucking loud.
Oh, the ED for Hitagi End?
Oh yeah, that one. I thought we were just going for just Bake.
I mean,
Oh,
posted a
whoops.
picture of it.
Yeah,
remember-
we can
Remember
go
that.
through.
Remember that in the future when we get to
Alright.
Alright.
that. In the first season, probably the first one actually.
Staple.
Yes.
Yeah.
I prefer the remix of it that they use in episode 12, or episode 11.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Thanks to that
That's a good answer.
stupid Space Jam remix of the Nautico one, I can't take it seriously anymore whenever
Yeah.
I
I
rewatch
can't
it.
listen to it without hearing the mashups. Without thinking about Old Spice. Yeah, so are we good on Bake? Do we want to move on to Nisemonogatari?
Yes.
What about
Oh, you want to do the film first?
Nekokuro?
Oh, we can talk about
actually,
Nekokuro.
that's a good
Yeah,
point.
do you want to
Yeah.
go in that order or okay?
I thought we were going in release.
Oh yeah, we didn't really talk
I
about
guess, yeah.
the, actually, Hanekawa part of Bakemono, did we?
That's because it's not very good.
Yeah, aside from the reveal that Shinobu comes out of Aragi's shadow, I don't think that part of the show is that interesting. But
Well,
that's just
Well,
It has some.
yeah, it has some significance in the
It
narrative.
sets
for
up
sure. Yeah.
a lot of stuff in second season, like
Mhm.
Maoi Jiangxi,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
is the name of it, and like it talks a lot about the nature of aberrations, which comes up
Yeah,
in Owari too.
definitely. It does set the stage for that stuff in the future, but yeah.
Seems to be a running theme here.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I think Bake does a great job at that. Yeah. So do we want to move on to Nekokuro?
This one, unfortunately, I
backstory.
don't remember a lot from off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't think it's that interesting, but
Yeah.
I think it suffers because it rehashes a little bit of what we already know in Bake, because most of that backstory was explained already. And then this one is just us explicitly seeing it. But
I watched it recently because I'm watching it in chronological order.
mhm.
It is
Alright.
so much better that way.
Yeah,
It's
I
agree.
it feels
so.
really important when you watch it in chronological order because you watch it right after Kizu,
Mhm.
where Araragi and Hanakawa have just really great chemistry and stuff.
Yeah.
And then if you go from that straight to Bake, you're like, the fuck happened between them? I thought they were supposed to get together.
Yeah.
And it's it's all right.
Yeah, I think it's solid.
I think it does suffer a bit that from it, like the events it shows are a bit different than what how Bake shows the events of it happening.
Well, so is Kizu.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I mean,
Kizu's way different in the movie than how
it-
like the one
it
in
certainly
Bake
is.
is pretty like solid from like straight from the book, and then
Mhm.
the movie Kizu's not.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to say about Nekokuro, but it's solid.
I like what it did for Araragi and Hanakawa's relationship, explaining why they didn't
Is-
get together.
Is this the
Yeah.
one where he pets her, or is that later on?
That is
I think that's Tsubasa Tiger, no?
Yeah, the end of it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I like that part.
That part's good in that one.
Big fan of head pats.
Yeah. So, do we want to move on to Nise, or? Because I mean, I don't know if you
Sure.
want to say. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nisemonogatari.
Yes.
So they had to make a follow-up to Bakemonogatari. They changed some things. Some people didn't like some things, but
No
I
matter
still really like Nise.
yes, no matter what people
regardless-
say about the fan service, this season's so fucking important for later on
Yeah,
stuff.
I think it's really good in general.
It's
Uh,
my highest rated one.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
we go. See, good.
But-
I was slightly afraid that we would have some haters here, but
No,
This is the-
actually, I was going to say Nise is probably my least favorite season. But
Good.
I think something important to remember about it, at least as far as I'm aware, is that Nisemonogatari was never wasn't originally intended to be published. Like it basically was just Nisio-san's fanfic, basically, which is why there's a lot more of the weird stuff.
yeah,
I don't fucking buy
I think. Yeah, I'm not entirely 100% on that story because like that's something I always hear, but I've never seen someone like actually back that up. But
I mean, he says
I
that
also-
at like the end of all his books. Like, I just wrote this to have fun or something like
Yeah.
that.
But I mean, I would also question if he wasn't planning on releasing that, then why does he introduce like 2 or 3 of the most important characters in the series?
Oh, yeah, like
Yeah.
Kaiki.
Yes.
But that's just me. Speaking of the introductions, Kaiki's introduction is one of my favorite scenes in the whole show.
Yep.
The sky is red. They make him look as menacing as possible.
He's true best girl.
It's fantastic. I could we
Hate
talked
that
about that one
meme.
for ages. They do everything they can to spell out this guy is a bad guy, and you know Monogatari likes to play tricks. He really isn't that bad a guy.
I think a
He's
lot
a
of the
You don't
pretty
know that.
fucking shitty guy.
yes.
Yeah, like everything, there's shades of gray.
I think the
Well-
visual design in this season's probably the best, minus Owari season 2.
Yeah, the visuals in all of the seasons I think are different from each other, but still very recognizable as Monogatari.
Minus the film.
Yeah, definitely. What else is good in Nise?
I think it has a lot of really important and great character interactions.
Certainly.
Like most notably Shinobu's
Yes.
basically introduction. Because
Yeah,
before
she
this
basically
point, I don't think I
becomes a
heard of-
character now.
Yeah.
That's the first time they talk from after the film, right?
I believe.
She has like a line in Nekokuro, but yeah, it's like, oh, I love donuts so much. It's like waved
Yeah.
off as nothing, but yes, basically her first speaking role, and his talk, I think it was in episode 2 or 3 with Hachikuji, is pretty important too,
Mm-hmm.
because that's when she tells him, "Oh, I like it when you molest me,"
Yeah.
which it kind of makes you feel a little bit better about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Not much.
Not a lot.
Mhm.
Well,
but
how old is she really? I mean, because she's been walking around forever, right?
Well, she's really like
she
20
died in
something.
she died in the 90s, and the
Yeah.
show's set in like 2006.
Well,
Yeah,
because
so I mean,
during season 2, in the Jiangxi arc, she, spoilers for that season, but she shows up as like probably a 25-year-old in the
If I had
modern
to
time.
guess, I would guess 20s, but that's just the way that her character is designed, I think. Let's see.
Oh, I
What
really
else
like
in-
Suki Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great arc.
Yeah,
Phoenix is
actually,
a good arc.
probably one of
You
the best
skipped the
arcs
best
I've
arc.
I think both of these arcs are interesting because they're longer than any of the arcs previously, which is cool. I kind of liked that the sisters got a bit of a slower paced arc.
the best characters.
I think it kind of fits their character a little bit. That they blaze through the main characters' arcs, and then they spend a little bit of time on the Araragi family's interactions.
I remember when I originally went through this, like I actually started watching all of it, that I kind of hated this season because they kind of sidelined all the other characters. But now, after like watching all the content, I'm glad they spent a lot of time on the sisters in this one.
Because they don't really get that much attention later down the line.
Yeah,
So it is nice to have something that's their own.
because they're really important though.
Yeah.
It's not even really that much about the sisters, because the first, Karen B, you spend like half that arc's about Senjo Gahara and Kaiki.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you spend like entire episodes at the beginning parts with Araragi talking to, Shinobu and Kambaru and Hachikuji, and just dicking around.
Yeah.
It's a lot more slice of life-ish than
Yeah, I think so. Definitely.
the other seasons.
It's what Monogatari would be if it doubled down on that stuff, on the slice of life stuff, which I think is interesting and significant that a lot of people overlook.
I think for the most part it's better that way, because Niseo Isen's like strength in writing is dialogue, and that's all slice of life is.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just all the good stuff and none of the stuff that is less great about his writing.
Let's see. Let's talk about. I really liked Senju Gahara and Kaiki's little rendezvous there at the theme park or wherever they go.
Yeah.
I think that was a super interesting section, and informs their relationship later in the series. And then we get the implied walked her home gently at the end. So. So
It's another stupid fucking meme.
That's all Monogatari is. Memes.
Yep. Collection of memes.
Yeah, besides I guess the introduction
How
of
about that Platinum Disco?
Oh.
Oh.
OPs.
Speaking of memes.
I prefer no wait, fuck, was it
Marshmallow Justice?
Yeah, Marshmallow
that's what it
Justice. Reminds me a lot of Sami Zayn's entrance song, which is a reference very few people watching this are gonna probably get.
There's a lot of overlap between wrestling and anime.
Well, I mean, Karen, I'm pretty sure does a Hurricane Rana, so
Karen does a lot of
is,
stuff. She throws
Fit.
she throws them through like
She is
overpasses.
she's tight AF. Anyway.
and she's also a middle schooler.
Yeah, that's true. Interesting you touched
by
on
the
that,
end,
though.
she's a high schooler. If
yeah,
that makes
The end
anything
of the
better.
series, she is, yes.
Karen has my favorite fight in the series. Her and Araragi duke it out and literally destroy half the infrastructure in town.
Yep.
Love it. That scene is awesome.
By the way, that town has overpasses, which is pretty legit.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
So-
supposed to be a small town. They're
Yeah.
full of shit.
I grew up in a small-ish town in the States, and we still had overpasses.
Overpasses that big and like
Yeah, that was like a
all like
full-blown
No.
highway
infrastructure.
system.
Yeah.
Not as exaggerated as in Nise,
Yeah,
but
they just
It
want
is.
their squabble to actually kill people. Even though I'm sure all of that is symbolic, it can't actually
Yeah.
have been like that. Which I think is another strength of the series.
I wouldn't even say symbolic, just exaggerated.
Like the
Yeah.
the
Okay.
toothbrush scene. That's symbolic.
Of what?
Oh no. Do we want to get into the toothbrush scene?
that fucking
It's the most
scene.
important part of the series.
It's not even just a scene; it's an entire fucking episode.
It is an important
Well, it's important.
important scene.
It makes
How?
sense. It makes sense in the realm
How
that
is it
It's kind
important?
of like a test to see if she can like withstand being around Kambaru, right? It's like if she can't pass that, the shit that
Right. Yeah. In the narrative, that is the conceit.
That's the justification.
Yeah. I also think it's a testament to just like how close they are as siblings. Like not even in like a sexual way. Like
Except
I
then
think that
Aragi
that's-
goes on to start getting turned on by his little sister.
right. I mean, the fact that they both enjoy it is something that is also also speaks to their characters. How not only is Aragi a giant perv, so is her. So is she.
I mean, it's a byproduct of their parents being gone the whole time. So I mean,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. People like to write this
Sure.
scene off, but I think it's important.
I think it doesn't
Or at least
really
noteworthy.
play any real role in the overall story other than just fan service, if I'm honest. Like, I don't... Like, I
I
guess
think
it
it's a little
does...
bit more complex than that, but
Like,
that's just
I
me.
guess it's supposed to be about if she can stand being around Kanbaru, but she never really shows up around Kanbaru.
Yeah, I think it's
So
it's,
that
it's
point is
representative
kind of moot.
It's representative of their closeness as siblings, I think, because earlier in Nise they had it out for each other, but I think the fact that Aragi takes care of her when she's under the weather with the whole bee situation, and then I think it just shows that they're a little bit closer than they were previously, and of course they have to do that in a strange way because it's Monogatari.
Well, they also do that in the beginning of Suki Phoenix. Like, I would argue just as well, and without the whole text of "I'm sexually attracted to my 12-year-old sister."
Well, sure. I mean, I think there are definitely. I don't want to downplay the fact that there are social taboos being played with here,
Oh no, absolutely.
but I think that I like to give the show the credit it deserves because a lot of the times when there is something that looks like it's just straightforward fan service, a lot of the times there's at least something else there, which I don't think enough people give the show credit for. But
I
I'm
think
just
it's
not
I think
sure I
that's,
agree with that. In
overstated
that
a lot.
episode.
How symbolic or whatever the fan service is in the series.
yeah,
I
you
would
think so?
tend to agree more.
I
with that,
think that's
yeah.
just people trying to justify it.
Well, I mean, there is. Okay. I think that's an interesting point because, personally, myself, I do not like fan service shows really. But I think that there has to be something else there for me to not hate this show. So, I don't know. The fact that I was able to find something to enjoy in a lot of these scenes that would normally be an instant drop, there has to have been something else there.
yep.
But any more thoughts on fan service?
I think there's a difference between there actually being something there and people seeing something there.
Well, sure. I
But
mean,
I'm not-
people like to over-examine and read into things, but I legitimately think Monogatari is a series with a lot of depth.
It is, but
That
I don't
doesn't-
really buy that depth is in fan service.
Look, there's the whole. I mean, there's the debate whether or not it's just nonsense or there's something else there. But I don't know. I don't think there's a clear-cut answer, personally.
Fan service or not, I think the most important thing about the second season, Nisemonogatari, is that I guess Araragi is testing his sister's will when it comes to justice, which doesn't really, like, you don't see his end and how his justice kind of fails until, what is it, Owari season 1. But
yeah, I think that's interesting to look at too. Is
because he basically, like, he's had his, like, idea of justice, like, completely shot down because of the events in his past, and he's seeing, like, kind of the same thing happening with the sisters, and he's like, you don't know what justice is, y'all are full of crap.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's interesting and slightly hypocritical of him, because at that point he had not yet realized that his outlook on justice is also very flawed.
Yes.
Which is interesting.
Before we move on, I guess I got a bit from the afterword of the Kizu novel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If Bakemonogatari is the novel I wrote entirely to entertain myself, then Kizumonogatari is a novel I wrote entirely in a fifth to entertain myself. In fact, these stories should have been sealed off forever, never to be espied. Their author fully satisfied the moment he put down his pen. So, yeah, I think that's fucking bullshit when people say, oh, they were never supposed to be released. He says that every time. Oh, fuck.
Uh-oh.
I just took out an entire bookshelf.
Oh, good job.
Whole thing.
Brutal.
Nice. Do we have anything else to touch on for Nise?
Well, I really like the ending. Whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Fuck,
the
what's
ED.
it called? Naisho no Hanashi or something like that. The one by Claris.
I've never learned the names for the EDs.
I know the first one. That's about it.
Yeah.
I know Bake's and Nise's, and that's pretty much it for me. But yes, I really enjoy it. I think it suits the Fire Sisters very well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were referring to the actual ending of it. The
Oh,
famous
yeah.
Kaiki quote.
Yeah.
Wait.
That's the
What's the Kaiki quote again?
When between a indistinguishable fake and the original
that one.
artifact, which is more valuable, and Kaiki, according to Kaganui, replied that the fake is of far more value because in its deliberate attempt to be real, it becomes more real than the real thing.
Yeah, which is interesting. I think that informs his outlook on life a lot.
It basically summarizes like the entire theme of the season.
Well,
Yeah,
it is called
sure.
the fake story.
It's a fake story.
Yeah,
or impost story,
Yeah.
depending on how you want to translate it.
if you want to be stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like puns.
I think any efforts to literally translate the names of the Monogatari series entries into English is kind of unnecessary. As long as you know the puns, then you can appreciate them in Japanese just fine.
I think we can all agree that Nise is pretty poorly translated.
Yeah.
Dagnabbit.
Sorry, what do you mean by that? Like the actual text or just the title?
They translated, when how Suki says, she's platinum mad or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah?
They translated that as I'm dagnabbit mad.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are,
Wait, in Crunchy subs?
No, in the actual official translations
Oh,
yeah.
of the book.
In the Jesus, why?
yeah.
Yeah, because you're stupid.
Because they're idiots, yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
Seems like the reverse
I-
of the whole goddamn Panzer IV thing in Girls in Panzer.
I really like something else in Nise that I almost forgot. Yotsugi's introduction is super good. I'm glad that she's introduced in this entry. She's my second favorite character in Monogatari, or girl, I should say, because I like Araragi a lot too. But she's super good. She doesn't really have too much screen time in Nise, but glad that she was introduced here.
Yeah,
Peace.
she's really nice.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it does a very good job of immediately telling you what kind of character she is.
Yeah. Any more thoughts on Nise before we move on?
Actually, if I could just drag the conversation kicking and screaming back to fan service for a second.
Okay.
I just wanted. It's really,
Well, I'm
really,
sure it'll come up
really
again
quick
anyway,
point.
because we're talking about
I just want to say
a
that
series notorious for its fan service.
I just want to say that I think that the episode after the toothbrush episode, the one with Shinobu, I think does what you were talking about a lot better. I think it does, like, I think it is legitimately, like, more, or if not more, at least as much about like Shinobu letting Araragi back into her,
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
opening
I think
back up to Araragi, as it is about the fact that Araragi is taking a bath with like an 8-year-old.
Yeah, I think that's. I think you're right. I think that scene is also very representative of their newfound closeness. I think without the context of the Kizu movies, it kind of just comes off as super weird. But
I would agree with that.
if you know their history, it's kind of touching, even though it's also kind of weird. But I mean, that's just part of the duality of the fan service in the show, I think. But yeah, thinly veiled as one may think, still some meaning in there.
When what's her name? Tutsuki? Is that how you say it?
Sukihi.
Yeah. When she comes back with the knife.
Oh yeah,
and he's
That's
able
that's
to,
right.
great.
Wow, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Taking the knife for a walk. Yeah, so we want to move on to the next installment. What do we want to talk about? Kizu next, or do we want to talk about second season next? I feel like Kizu would be a solid spot to go now, but
yeah,
we could go either way.
we can talk about that. That way, like, the whole first season stuff is out of the way, and then we can move on.
And we can jump into the more plot focused stuff. So the Kizu movies took them years to make them. So much that Kizu never was a meme.
Just like Spice and Ball Season 3.
Yeah.
It definitely would have been a meme though.
Yeah.
That bit
I
in
think-
the boob scene in 3.
Yeah. Yeesh.
That'd have been all if people knew about it.
Yeah, Kizu's a good series. I haven't read the book, but I know that especially the last one makes some significant departures.
Yes.
But I liked all of them. I get to see all but one in theaters, which was a super interesting experience.
Probably awkward, too.
We touched on it back in our anime streaming episode, but when I went to the theater, because it was like an art theater that had like passes where people can get free tickets and stuff, I was walking out of the theater next to these two people who were not Monogatari fans who had stumbled upon this. And they liked the movie. It was Kizu 2. It wasn't even the first one. They had no context at all, but seemed like they enjoyed it, which was weird for some open-minded normies not to be scarred for life.
I mean, there's not a lot of like bad.
No,
Like,
yeah,
there's no
for
child
sure, but
molestation in it.
I would just be very confused.
Dude gets hit in the
probably.
face with a shot put.
It's pretty straightforward. The second part, it's like, oh, you got these 3 bad guys to meet. You're a vampire.
Yeah,
Go do
I
it.
guess so. Yeah. coming at it from a Monogatari superfan perspective, I'm like, why are they here? But I guess, yeah, you could probably pick it up. If we're talking about 2, I love the, there's like I forgot what the track is called, but the battle theme that they use, like it's right at the beginning of the movie, but that song is so good. It sounds like straight out of a Mortal Kombat soundtrack or something, but it's fucking awesome. And all of those those fights are fantastic.
I love how like different it looks, yet it still feels like it fits in the series.
Yeah, I like the art direction. I think it's cool that they took it in such a different direction. I mean, obviously with the production values and time that a movie provides, they could be weird with it, and I think that they definitely went in the right direction with that. Because there was definitely I'm sure they could have played it safe and still released a movie that everybody loves, but I like what they did with it.
I did not care for it.
Yeah, it's a big departure. I can see why people don't like it.
I felt like the 3D bits that they had in it were actually pretty bad looking.
They weren't great.
I think it was like a baby or something in 3 that just looked awful. Like it had to have been purposely awful, because I can't imagine somebody looking at it and going like, "Yeah,
I'm gonna check
this looks good enough for this movie." But there's also like a lot of shots of objects and stuff. They're just like, that looks like something from a Pokemon game.
Yeah, I can see where that criticism comes from.
The character designs for like Hanakawa and Kishshot annoyed me as well.
I think they went overboard on her on Hanekawa's giant tits, but
budget.
Otherwise, yeah. It was a little much, but that's just a preference thing on my end, I think.
The guy is like really hot though.
Yeah. Oh, holy hell, yeah. What's the guy's name? Dramatsurugi, maybe? I think the first guy that they fight.
The full vampire?
First guy Aragi fights.
That's
With the sword arms?
Yeah.
You mean the guy that looks like Berserker from Fate Stay Night?
Hot.
You think he's hot? He looks like a giant piece of rock.
He's a pretty swole fellow.
To each their own, I guess.
Ocean was really hot.
I think that all three of the vampire hunters are sort of, or at least to me, they seem kind of intentionally ugly, I guess, but
I don't know if this was intentional or not, but the priest guy looks a lot like Kaiki. I don't know if there was a connection there, but I thought he looked just like him.
I was curious about that too, because this isn't in the movie, it's in the book. They say that the church that he's in, like, they purposely don't believe in apparitions, whatever the fuck you want to translate it as, because that gives them more power. Like, that lowers the power of the aberrations. And
interesting.
Kaiki does that too.
That's true.
So it's kind of implied, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought that there was kind of a parallel there, but nothing is explicitly stated. So I was like, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm a wacko. But it's nice seeing Oshino, because he's hardly in the show.
And he's great.
Yeah, he has some stellar moments in these movies, for sure.
It kind of puts into perspective, like, just how fucking good the specialists are.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to just steal Kishshot's heart without her noticing.
Definitely.
I think the movies were... These are about the only things I've seen, having read the source material before.
Yeah. Okay. I know a lot of people went into it after having read it.
For me.
I
did
know
not
some
care
people
for
who
the
are in that
movies.
same boat.
Yeah, because I watched them, and there are quite a lot of differences, and I would just be like, I like the way the books did this better. Because they cut out a lot of internal monologue and dialogue and stuff.
You're starting to sound like a Harry Potter fan. read the book.
Well, I definitely want to do an episode in the future about source material and that whole debate. So definitely want to save some of that for that, but I want to do that topic at some point in the future.
I've read 2 source materials, so...
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read too much either, but talking about the whole mentality is something that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
And something I think a lot of people, especially people who are anime only, is a lot of that they can relate to. Annoying source fans and such. But
read the manga, it's way better.
Yeah. So we'll definitely have to talk about that at some point. But yeah, I think I know a lot of people who had read the book and were disappointed by the direction the movies took. Specifically, now I had known that there was a detail at the end in the third movie that was significantly different, and it was pretty obvious to see where. I think if we want to talk about that, the reveal that that Kishot wanted to be killed.
Yes.
Could have been handled differently. Yeah, I was really confused when it happened, and I had no knowledge of the source material. I thought that was weird, but no, don't know if we want to talk about that. We can.
Well, we kind of already are, so
That's true.
we may as well.
You forced it upon us.
Yeah. Do you want to weigh in on it?
Oh, I haven't seen Kizu 3, so...
Oh shit!
Oh.
I had assumed that everyone had read everything.
No,
or watched everything.
I already know what happened, or what happens, rather, so
Mhm.
I don't really care that much, but I can't really weigh on either the original or the adaptation of this single movie, because I haven't
Yeah.
seen it. So if you want to talk about it,
Fair
by all
enough,
means.
yeah. I basically I knew that there was, going into the movie, I knew that there was a significant difference in the movie, and I was able to spot it pretty easily from not knowing anything about it. So I think that that's a testament to how poorly it was handled. But
I
that's
can
just me.
barely even remember that part in the movie. It's been a while since I watched it, actually.
I saw it in theaters a couple months ago, so kind of fresh, but not really.
It was like
Go ahead.
Hanakawa came out, and then Kishot was just like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Or something.
She was like, don't say what you're going to say. And then she's like, well, I want to say what I'm going to say. And then she says, this is what I was going to say. She says it. And then Aragi's like, oh my goodness, that's a thing. But yeah, no, I'm a little fuzzy on the details myself, but I remember being very confused by that whole exchange. It was interesting. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it probably, but
Just read the book.
yeah. Well, I do want to read the light novels at some point, so I have to go buy all of them.
I was accidentally sent 2 copies of it. If you would like
you
one.
read
Lucky you.
What else is good about Kizu?
Well, if I can
A lot of the... Yeah?
if I can say something, I actually thought Kizu was kind of, honestly kind of disappointing, because it seemed to focus a lot more on the fights than the actual character interactions. Like, especially the second movie, it seemed like it seemed like the interactions between all the people were there to build up to the big fight scenes, and pretty much just there to build up to the fight scenes. And I mean, and there was definitely some great dialogue in there. Like, I loved sorry, Araragi. I completely forgot his name for a second. Araragi. I know it. Yeah, the guy, Batsuragi.
Yeah. Mr. Monogatari.
Yeah, one of the like 3 male characters in the show. I like him and Hanekawa's conversation in the second film. About
Where she gives him her panties.
Yes, that one. That was fantastic, but I
That was
That
really
was
great. I love
kind
that
of
part
the
of the
high
book
point
too.
of the first two movies to me.
The way it's set up is that the second, like even in the book, the second act is just all fighting pretty much.
Hmm.
I thought it
With
was
some bits in between with Araragi and Hanakawa.
I thought it was interesting to see and important to see a lot of fighting in the films because they don't really explain like how badass he really is in the earlier
Yeah,
TV
definitely.
seasons. And, like you see him like do like
Yeah.
absurd amount of strength. You're just like, oh, he can do that.
Mhm.
And then in the films are like,
Yeah.
yeah, he already went through all these hardships with that.
Yeah, I think that it's really important that there was a lot of fighting in the Kizu movies because it is a fantastic contrast to just how inept he is at fighting in in the main series. To see that he used to be this super powerful vampire who could defeat 3 highly trained specialists is
One with the shot put.
yeah, which I think that's important to show that he was there at this point, and the Aragi we know in the series is a shadow of that.
It's not because he
strength
was,
wise.
yeah, it's not because he was any better at fighting or anything.
Yeah, he was
just
juiced
that much
up
better than
on
everybody else.
vampire juice.
And I really like how he never, even when he was fighting Kiss Shot at the end, he
Mhm.
never really fully grasped just how strong he was.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he was as a Kiss Shot's servant, he would have been
Mhm.
like the second most powerful being in existence.
Yeah.
That scene where like they show him like running through the city and it's just like him running from what was that? I think at the end of the second film where he's like running to save
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Haneko. Yeah.
That scene where he just like completely deforms.
I wanted to bring this up. I touched on it earlier. The gore in this movie is a little outrageous.
Yes.
In a couple places.
The head's flying off.
Haneko's disembowelment is disgusting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen Kizu 2 twice, and I still have to like wince or look away. It's so gross. I mean, I like how over the top it is, but it's hard to watch.
How did she not get an
At least for
infection?
me. I know. Yikes.
I would
But,
assume vampire blood would cure infections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it regrows a lot of shit, so
Mhm.
I enjoyed the films, but they're definitely lower on the list of, like, I don't know how much I enjoyed them, but I see the huge faults it has.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
I thought the
I,
decision to change like what locations looked like was really weird. Like, maybe
Yeah,
confused
I
about
thought
where
it was
stuff was
weird.
set.
Yeah, especially in the first movie, I'm like, I think this is supposed to be the cram school, but it doesn't look anything like it. That's weird, but I kind of got used to it. I think it was interesting seeing a different take on the locations, but it still made the transition kind of weird. There was something else I wanted to say. I'll come back to it when I remember.
The face animations were really good,
For sure, yeah,
very
definitely.
expressive. Did you figure out what you were going to say in it?
Yeah.
Or you just edited this out?
They managed to top themselves with the Haneko panty shot in the first film. They made it even better than the one in Bakemonogatari.
That
was-
is actually probably the one part of the Kizu movies that are more accurate to the book.
Well, apparently in the books they describe her panties in like very laborious
they do.
detail, right?
It's I think it's actually about 3 pages
Yeah.
Jesus, really?
of her panties and underskirt. Yeah, it's like 10 pages into the book.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a good time to talk about the most important panty shot in anime. Haneko's panty shot. If that weren't a thing, the whole series probably wouldn't be a thing, at least as we know it. Because Aragi never would have ran into Kiss Shot if he wasn't out buying porn. So, interesting.
It's a feast for the eyes.
For sure. Yeah.
On the second season.
Yeah. That's
Yes,
that's about it on
please.
Kizu. Yeah, second season. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. Best
General thoughts?
Best arcs in the series, and the worst ones, for me.
Yeah.
It's,
For me, it's pretty much all positives. I don't think there's an arc in second season I dislike. I think it's one of, if not the strongest installment. If Owari didn't exist, it would be the standout strongest installment for me.
I think
But,
I think it suffers slightly from being like with everything being one after another. It's kind of long. I think it would have benefited of like being split up in some way.
yeah. I think that this, and Flame, I don't know if you agree. You probably don't. But I think this arc, or the chunk of the series that takes place during Tsubasa Tiger is one that benefits from being watched chronologically.
absolutely.
I think they make a lot more sense, and I think it makes what I used to think were kind of average arcs into something that kind of all plays into each other a lot better.
They're an absolute fucking nightmare to do chronologically.
Yes,
Because
it's a disaster.
Tsubasa Tiger itself, like all the arcs take place during it.
Yeah.
So you have to, like,
Episode one spans
stop,
three Araragi arcs. Just the first episode of Tiger. But yeah,
it makes everything make a lot more sense.
it definitely does. And especially like later in Shinobu Mail, having to think that Araragi had just gone through the two Jiangxi and Shinobu time makes a lot of sense as far as his actions go. Because if you're watching it in broadcast order, it's like why does he do certain things or whatever, but watching it all lined up makes more sense, at least to me.
Yeah, I've really come around on Tsubasa Tiger.
Yeah.
I used to fucking hate it because it's just so like, what the hell's even going on?
Mm-hmm.
Why are these characters here?
Yeah.
When I first watched it, it always seemed like I skipped something.
Yeah, it
Like I was
definitely gives you
supposed
that
to know.
feeling.
But yeah, watching it in chronological, although it's quite difficult, is a much better experience, I think.
Yeah. Talking about Tiger, I like that every time Haneko goes to bed, it skips chapters, and then she remarks in the fact that she skipped chapters. She's like, somebody must be doing something while I'm asleep. Because the story is progressing and I'm not there. But yeah, I thought that was the fun little bit of meta, but also that still played into the story, so it wasn't unnecessary.
I thought her and Shinjo Gahara's relationship in Tiger was really interesting.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, when you watch it chronologically, you feel really bad for Hanakawa during
Yeah.
Hitagi Crab. That's the name of that first fucking arc, because you got so attached to her in Araragi in their relationship in Kizu in
And then
Nekokuro.
you see it ripped away.
Yeah, and this just random ass girl falls out of the
Yeah.
sky, and he
It's
falls in love
literally
with her in like
chick.
2 days.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how their relationship has progressed as the person who basically stole Araragi away
Yeah.
from her.
Very interesting. More second season stuff.
You want to go in order of the arcs, or
Yeah, that's a solid way to go.
Alright.
What's the second arc, though? Is it Jiangxi?
Meioe
Shinobu
Jiangxi?
time? Jiangxi, okay.
You're gonna have to remind me for these first like 3.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
the time
weird
travel
that,
one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Yeah. That Meioe Jiangxi is started by Shinobu because she goes back in time. And then Shinobu Time, while also about Shinobu's story, is more about Meioe.
It's slightly confusing.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
But if we're talking about the time travel one, I thought it was super weird that they would just pull time travel out of nowhere.
Oh, you
But,
need more time to study? Let's
yeah,
let's go back in time.
literally go back in time.
Let's go back into the
Yeah.
90s. Have a decade
Yeah.
to study.
I thought that conceit was cool, but also very strange.
I mean, it does a good job highlighting just how absurdly powerful Shinobu used to be.
Yeah.
I really didn't like the whole setup of it, because as soon as they said they were going to time travel, I was like, oh, the world's about to end.
Mhm.
That is exactly what happens, because that's what always happens.
Yeah.
The ending with their where they confront, future
Kiss shot.
Shinobu. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that's one of the best parts of the season. Really, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's really
definitely.
The rest of the
cool.
arc, I don't think's that great, but that part's
I
fantastic.
I went into that part expecting that they would have to fight her, or like have to do something crafty, but Jesus, seeing Kiss Shot like that is crazy.
I mean, I guess if you've watched Kizu before that, you would
Yeah.
sort of expect her to be suicidal,
Yeah.
because that's exactly what she was in Kizu.
Yeah. Definitely. I haven't done a full rewatch since I finished the Kizu series, which I need to do. But
Then
I liked seeing. Oh, go ahead, Faust.
okay. They also have made it pretty clear, like in the first, whatever, like in in Bake, Nise, and the Kuro, like that Shinobu is just fanatically attached to Araragi, and it goes into more of that in Kizu, but like they really put a point on that in Jiangxi.
Yeah, for sure. It's super interesting to see what she would be like without him.
Well, because does she say in Nise that, or is it in Nise that she says that she would have ended the world if Araragi hadn't come to get her?
That's mentioned somewhere. I don't know if it's mentioned after Jiangxi or
I
not.
always thought that was
I'm pretty
what
sure
the
it's
big
mentioned
reveal
in
in
before.
Jiangxi
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, I think it's mentioned after that event, after
Alright.
those events. I don't remember though. Yeah, super cool. Getting to see grown up Mayo is super cool.
Yeah, it was.
I really like her adult design. Shame we don't really see much of it, but yeah, just super cool. There really isn't much to this arc, aside from a couple of the standout moments.
Yeah.
Nadeko
I would
Medusa.
tend to agree with that.
Yeah, let's move on to Medusa.
Ooh.
This one's cool.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Getting an arc from Nadeko's perspective is cool. Seeing how she sees the world.
Still hate her.
Just getting
Very
arcs
interesting.
from other people's perspectives is really cool,
Yeah, that's a significant
and
change.
that's
in
really
this,
only done in second season,
Yeah, in second season.
since Hana was actually supposed to be a part of second season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like Medusa a lot. I think that the snake on her wristband being kind of a nebulous kind of. I don't remember if it's something that she's just made up, or I don't really remember.
You see,
I don't think it's an actual oddity, but
that's where
she
my problem
convinces
with it is.
herself to eat the talisman, as far as I know, or something like that.
Yeah, that's where my
Yeah.
problem with the with this arc is, and I didn't notice it until I rewatched it. But
Mm-hmm.
so at the end, last episode, the snake tells her that it was just a hallucination all along, and that it wasn't ever an oddity. But from what we know about oddities, I'm not sure how that is possible, since they are created by belief and strong emotions, and she
Mhm.
obviously had both of those.
That's true. Yeah. I
But
didn't think about
also,
that, really.
if the point of it is that she did all this herself, if you're going to say that she was just crazy the whole time, that kind of takes her accountability away from it.
Yeah, that's true. It does make it so
But
that
if she
less
was
at fault for her
manipulated
own
by
actions.
an oddity, which is what most of the art wants to imply, then you can just say like, oh, she went along with it the whole time.
Well, actually, just popped into my head. We know that she has a victim complex, so she probably, if this was all something that she wanted to do, if it was all in her head, she would want to construct the narrative that it was an oddity that forced her to do this, because she wanted to play the victim like she always does. So maybe that's just her nature. Like, maybe she was convinced it was an oddity, but then again, you're right. If she believed it, then it could have actually been real. So, I don't know. Very strange.
I think it introduces... I think Niseo Yusen wanted to do this and didn't care so much about the metaphysics of it.
Definitely.
Well,
He pulled a Nasu.
I think it actually sort of ties into Kaiki's philosophy.
What's
The fake can be just as real as the real thing.
Yeah. Well, in
What's
this
the
case, the
difference?
fake is more dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's a fake god that is legitimately threatening to the whole town.
Well, I mean,
Or
she
s-
becomes a real
yeah.
god
Well, yeah, that's true. But
after eating the talisman.
yeah.
Yeah. I think this is the third best arc in the series.
Yeah, I really like this one. Her freak out at school is super
Oh.
compelling.
Oh,
That's
fucking
fantastic. scene.
great voice
Wow,
acting
love
by Kanazawa.
Yeah,
It's one of the two.
Hanakana.
Yeah, Hanakana.
I always get it backwards.
Yeah, I always get it backwards too. Yeah, she's a great voice actress and does a good job on Nadeko for sure.
Definitely.
All the voice work in the series is good.
Top notch.
Yeah. Anything else on Medusa?
The OP is great.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. As kind of a perversion of her first OP.
Yeah, it's
Super trippy, super cool.
it's basically Renai circulation in reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Very
really
cool.
like it as a song, but like I've said
Symbolically,
before,
it's awesome.
it fits like a fucking glove for
Yeah.
Nadeko's headspace during this arc.
Hmm.
Because she's fucked up, it's fucked up. They're both fucked up. It works.
Yep. All right. What's next? Shinobu Time?
I don't remember this
Is it?
one.
I think it is.
Yes.
Shinobu Time is all about the darkness, chasing after Mayoi, and
Oh yeah.
a
okay,
good
this
amount
one.
of this arc is saved for some of the backstory for the first servant that Kissshot created.
Oh yeah.
And that whole backstory flashback sequence is really cool. I love how that's animated. But yeah, it is kind of just an info dump, but they kept it really interesting, like Monogatari is famous for.
This might have been the time where I started feeling like this season was really dragging, or it was going on too long.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I thought that the plotline. No, go ahead, Flynn.
The art for like when she's telling her story,
Yeah.
thing, of the first servant. Yeah, the artwork for that backstory was phenomenal.
Yeah, I love the aesthetic there.
Definitely.
I think that the business with the darkness and trying to figure out what it really is interesting. I like the reveal that it was caused when an apparition isn't fulfilling their purpose. I thought that was cool, and the reveal that Ononoki jumped them away so that they were lost, so that the darkness wouldn't follow them. Very cool. Mayoi's goodbye is heartwarming, or her heart-wrenching.
That's probably my favorite. Well, maybe not favorite, but definitely second favorite scene in the entire series.
Yeah.
Like it's
very strong.
it's fucking brutal.
He kisses a lot of children in this one.
That's true.
Well, no. In
He
fairness
kisses
to
a lot of not
Araragi,
children.
That's true.
well,
They just look
no.
like children.
This time it's that Hachikuji kisses Araragi.
Yeah.
So, like,
Let's see how that holds up in court.
it probably wouldn't, but
Definitely not. Yeah, do we want to move on to the next arc? What is Hitagi end the next one, or
Yes.
no, it's
Yeah.
is it,
I'm looking
wait,
at-
is it
I'm looking at a
Hitagi
chart.
end? Or
all right? Then let's
Wait.
get into it.
sorry, where does Suki fall into all of this then?
What do you mean? Oh,
Suki-
That's part of
Tsukimonogatari.
That's part of
That's
final
in,
season.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's after Owari.
Mm,
Where it's
Well,
No,
according
that's
to,
Hana.
Owari season
Aren't you?
1,
Isn't
isn't
it?
it?
according to the chart I'm looking at,
No, I
Tsuki
believe
comes
it's,
before Owari.
It's it's second season Hana Suki Owari, as far as I recall.
All right.
Not
But, yeah, no.
chronological.
Yeah, not chronologically.
Airing.
Or maybe I don't fucking remember.
There's too goddamn many of these.
Let's talk about Hitagi end.
This one has my favorite OP. It's so good.
It
Very
is.
good. This duet is fantastic.
Yeah, this one just in general I think is the best part of second season.
Yeah, I think it's most people's favorite arc or one of their favorite arcs. And with good reason. Very good.
So is it like confirmed that they either had something going on or that it literally was whoever was going to save her, she would have probably fallen for them?
I think that's
the
what they lead you to
second, yeah.
believe. Yeah. So
Or they-
I think that their dynamic is so interesting, and one of the reasons I also like Nisemonogatari because that comes to a head.
I like how my favorite thing about this is how Kaiki at the beginning of the arc just flat out says not to trust anything that happens in the arc.
Mhm. I love it. It is perfectly like him to have an arc in his perspective be, for him to be upfront. I'm probably lying and embellishing a lot of this.
And you know that he is.
Yeah,
Is the-
it's great. Because he literally kills himself at the end just to make it a more interesting story.
I mean, it is a
Love it.
fantastically interesting story, but
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
great way to frame it
Yeah,
because you're never sure how much of it is true. You have to go by like
Yeah.
what you've seen in other arcs and just sort of
Yeah.
guess.
love
All
it.
of it could be true.
All of it could be.
Yeah.
I could tell you. Destiny
But then you'd have to
flashbacks.
kill us.
I was just thinking of that Destiny quote from the fucking speaker guy who never tells you shit.
Oh. What else? This being in Kaiki's perspective is super interesting, like we touched on. I love that his character gets some more depth. I think he went from being kind of like just a con man hack to being one of the most interesting characters in the show.
While still being a conman hack.
Yep.
Yeah. Very, very cool, and totally Monogatari-like to twist everything around like this. This arc is really the epitome of messing with your expectations, I think. They take one of the worst characters in Bake and make her one of the most interesting characters in the series, in my opinion. Nadiko's whole character arc is super compelling. And then they take a very unlikely protagonist and make you care about him. Very cool.
It's the way that they take like sort of villain from earlier in the series
Mm-hmm.
and make him probably the most well liked character in
Yeah.
the series is just
Yep.
wild. I the only thing I've seen like it is in like very high quality Western shows like The Wire.
Thrones?
Mm-hmm.
Game of Thrones.
Oh
with,
yeah,
with
Thrones
Jaime.
with like Jamie.
Jamie,
Yes.
who's just a
Yeah.
fucking shithead in the beginning, and then towards the end you're like, yeah, this is my dude.
Yeah, very cool, and a testament to how well executed and written this show is. Touched on the OP.
The
Yes.
I like how it gave you a background into Gain, like what
Yeah.
happened there.
Definitely.
Yep.
Kaiki was in love with her, and she. I think this is the first part where you hear that she died in a car accident.
Yeah.
That whole backstory there is very. It's something that Monogatari doesn't go into very much, but it's very. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah. Certainly.
I also think it's kind of cool to actually get to see the main characters from someone else's perspective for a change. Because I mean, even with or even in Tsubasa Tiger, like you're still seeing it from someone who is in relatively the same sort of mindset as Araragi, but like everyone that Kaiki has to deal with, it really makes them seem as strange as they would be like if you met him, or at least I think they would be if you met him in real life.
Yeah, the change of perspectives is something that second season plays with a lot, and each one has its own insights on how the events actually transpired and what the world really is like. Because I think through a lot of the beginning of the series, at least I forgot that this story is completely filtered through Araragi. Like, there's a bunch of quirks that you don't notice or you just get used to that are just changed completely when the narrator changes. Very cool. Like how background characters don't exist, but in some people's perspective, they're there. Interesting stuff like that.
Stuff's like way less exaggerated from Kaiki's point of view.
Yeah. The ending of this arc is fantastic.
It is.
The reveal that that she was into manga but hid it from everyone is interesting.
She had to hide her power level.
She loses her shit.
Yeah. Very cool.
His whole speech to talk her out of it was fantastic too.
Yeah, I love it. He sets up the long con, and then she sees through it immediately, which I thought was like, oh shit. But
and you really see it coming when you're like rewatching it, because he's just so fucking stupid about the whole thing.
yeah, he really is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he mentions that, he's really bad when it comes to doing cons and stuff like that for something that he wants.
Yeah.
Like for something that he's attached to, like Senjo Kahara. And you really see like just how bad he is in the whole thing.
How about the scene at the beginning of the arc where Senjo Kahara finally calls up Kaiki and asks for help, and or asks to meet with him, and he says, "No, I'm actually going to Okinawa." And so she's like, "I'm already on a plane. I'm going to come get you." And then he has to go to the airport and get on a plane. Hilarious.
Especially with the Groucho Marx glasses.
Yeah.
And Kaiki in a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah. Any more thoughts on second season in general? This arc?
Strangely, as much as there are a lot of really memorable moments in this particular series, I think the arcs as a whole were kinda not so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm a huge fan, especially because I watched some of the earlier arcs chronologically. I think almost every arc in this installment is one of the best. But that's just me. I think some of the, especially Mayo Jiangxi and Shinobu Time, really shine chronologically. There's still some parts I don't like, but I think that those arcs basically need to be watched this way to fully appreciate them.
I would just about suggest doing it in chronological order.
Yeah.
Maybe watch Bake
yeah,
first.
it's
so
for a first
because
time,
of how Kizu is.
For a
But-
first time recommendation, I'm still a little hesitant to recommend chronological, but I think as long as you got a solid grasp on the series, it's very manageable. Aside from having to splice together episodes being a little daunting.
It'd be nice if there was something that did it for you.
Yeah. I always wanted to go in and actually edit video files to put shit together.
Get on it, pirates.
Arr.
Yeah.
I guess I just feel like if you have to recommend that people watch the show in a way other than that it was meant to be presented for people to actually get all of the enjoyment out of it, the people that made it may have failed somewhere along the way.
Well, no, I think the intention behind presenting it in this way is so that people rewatching it or people that are very perceptive can go, "Oh, I understand where this is. That makes a lot of sense." But physically putting it in order makes it so anybody can pick up on the similarities and the and that stuff. If you see the show release order enough times, you'll probably pick up on everything. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's a deliberate release pattern that is daunting, but is also
I've seen people
causes a lot of confusion.
I've seen people say that the way if you watch it in release order, they leave things out on purpose to give the air of mystery to the show.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, I think not knowing things is important to the series and to an extent.
Which bothers a lot of people.
Horror too. I don't buy it.
Any more thoughts on SS? If we move on to
I like the
Hana, I
decision
guess?
to leave Hana out of it. Put it later, after it.
yeah,
Definitely
So
give it more room
he
to
keeps
breathe.
up the oh shit, Kaiki just died.
yeah.
So
I love that.
this is my controversial opinion of the watch order. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I think Hana should be watched at the very, very end, because the presence, even the mere presence of a character in Hana, kind
I
of
think so too.
ruins Owari
Yeah,
season 2's ending.
I think that makes sense, but I also think maybe, from a storytelling perspective, I wouldn't expect that character wouldn't be there. At least when I watched, I would not. I guess we're gonna move on to Hana anyway. We can talk about this, I guess. I don't want to be too vague because we're gonna go into Owari later. But the fact that Araragi is there, I feel like I expected it to happen. The fact that he was absent made it so that Kanbaru could have some development, and seeing how their relationship advanced was very interesting.
I think he's referring
Yeah.
to Ogi.
Yep.
Oh, yes, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah, because
He/she is
She's-
literally just there in
Yes.
the opening. It's just oh, okay,
Well-
well this person
I knew that. Well, after watching Hana and knowing that's true. You don't think about what happens later.
I guess if you look
what am I
into
trying to say?
Araragi's personality enough, you'll know how he'll act in that situation in
Yeah,
Owari season
I
2.
think
But
but also I think that they did a very interesting thing with it. That they made in Hana they made Ogi a boy.
oh yeah,
And
or a cross-dresser.
yeah, which is interesting because even if you know, going into Owari 2, her arc, it's that something has to happen for her to be different. So I don't know. I think that is definitely weird. I think it going forward, I probably would suggest to watch it last, just so that there's some more suspense to.
Because
the more
just
climactic
the
moment.
nature of it and where it takes place in the timeline, it kind of is like an OVA, just like a separate side
Yeah,
story.
definitely.
especially
If I'm honest,
after
I had completely
Zoku
forgotten
comes
Ogi
out.
is actually in
Yeah.
it.
What'd you say, Faust?
Sorry, I had actually completely forgotten that Ogi is in Hana.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes a little
I
appearance.
can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
Anyway, about Hana itself.
Yeah. I think
yes.
Hana's super good.
I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was
didn't
one of
care
the better
for it.
arcs.
Yeah. I like Roka's whole story. I think it's cool to see such a different character out of the series. That was it only appears in this arc, and But yeah, it's kind of its own little thing, which is interesting.
I thought
I
she was
thought it
kind
went
of like
on for.
So no, go ahead.
I thought it went on for about 2 episodes too long.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
I'd kind
Which
of
is
agree with you.
kind of interesting because in second season, the reason they had the recap episodes is because those 3 episodes were supposed to be Hana.
Mm-hmm.
So they, I guess, increased it by 2 episodes.
3.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
guess. I mean, by not having to tie it to second season, maybe they decided that they would increase the length just so they could spend more time on it. But
I think it
like
just makes
make
it really
make it better as a
drag
standalone.
on.
But it definitely does. I think I agree with you. The pacing is a little janky.
The OP, I really like it.
Yep.
Yeah, very good.
I like
Basketball.
how it tells a story that has seemingly nothing to do with the rest, like what's going
Yeah.
on.
Well, I think it deals with Kanbaru's like remaining baggage as far as her story goes, and then deals with Roka's whole situation. Yeah, it is very. I think it is very self-contained. It's very clear that it is after the main plot is resolved, which is
I would
cool.
have liked it to have been its own anime, to be honest. It would have been pretty nice.
Yeah. What else?
The
I really. Oh no, go ahead.
go ahead. Fuck it.
I really like the hot pot scene. Very good.
Me.
Between,
Oh god, yeah.
between
that one.
Kaiki and Kanbaru. You have to eat your meat.
Such great advice.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. That's one of my favorite scenes in the show.
There's also
I never really-
a god tier head pat scene in this in this season.
I never really got what Kaiki's goal was here.
Yeah, I think he wanted to reach out to Kanbaru like because of her connection to Gaian, I guess, right?
I mean,
Because
that's what he
when he's
says.
introduced to Nise, he's out front of her house, supposedly trying to meet her. And then when he finally does meet her, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's just like
But
some
in,
sort of strange closure for him about him and Gaian's relationship, maybe? I don't
in
know.
Hitagi End, his he either gets a phone call or he mentions Roka in Hitagi End.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. Very cool.
So he's obviously planning something there.
Yeah, that makes him more significant player in Hana than I thought. Then, very cool.
There are a lot of those weird little details that you don't seem significant until
definitely.
later.
This
And
is
so you don't
this is
care
a show
about-
with a lot of foreshadowing and stuff.
Oh. I hurt myself.
What's that? Oh, I thought you thought of something.
Good job.
No, I'm just
you're
old.
right.
I guess if I have to say anything about this arc, it's that I kind of think that Roka is a more sympathetic version of Sodachi.
Yeah, I would say that they're similar in that they're both characters that appear for their own arcs and get their stories resolved, which is cool that a show managed to introduce a new character and give them a whole arc this late in the show.
Well,
But yeah, when we go to Owari, I'll talk more about that probably.
well, they trying to figure out how to say this without, well, just keeping it on Hana, but like
We can go back to it. If
they're both they both choose to define themselves by something that they think was caused by the main character of their arc, like a tragedy that they think was the responsibility of Kanbar or the responsibility of Araragi, and they like almost seems like they want to try to, or well, I mean for Sodachi they do, but like Roka seems to want to punish Kanbar for it, and
Yeah.
I think they manage, or I think the way that they actually manage to make it clear that they've forgiven each other makes Roka if maybe not a more interesting character, at least a more interesting antagonist to me than Sudachi is.
Interesting, yeah. I really like both of them as characters, significantly. Any more Hana thoughts?
Well, since we're already on it, might as well go to Owari.
Might as well jump right
Yeah, I
over.
guess so.
Wait,
Should we quickly touch on Suki?
Yeah, I forgot about
because it is related to Owari 2, so I don't want to do Owari 1, Suki, and then Owari 2. I feel like we should talk about all of Owari.
As long as we mention that it has the third best OP.
Tsukimonogatari is actually my favorite OP.
Yes, it's like it's so catchy and
Orange
weird.
Man, yes, it's perfect. It perfectly
Pretty good.
encompasses the whole of her character. That's great. Let's see.
the only thing I remember about this was Shinobu playing in the snow.
Yeah. This I I kind of thought Suki was kind of lame until Owari came along and fleshed out the antagonist a little bit. But I am kind of perturbed that Yotsugi's arc is not really about her very much. Aside from going to meet the man who made her.
Which plays really into second season of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not very significantly about her, and a lot she's one of the only characters in this show that doesn't really get that much attention, which is unfortunate because she's very interesting.
It also has
maybe that's
probably the one bit of fan service that I think is unnecessary in this season.
Oh, the bath scene, right?
Yeah, that was a little.
Yeah, I think they could have more concisely shown that Araragi doesn't have a reflection anymore.
Yeah,
I think some of that was very unnecessary, but yeah.
Plus, who grows their hair out that long? That's just unhuman.
That's true.
Well,
Well, she's not human.
Oh, that's true.
Well, because is this
Yeah,
one of the first ones where they really start to show that there's like an underlying plot going down?
I think that there's hints of it in the second season, especially toward Hitagi end. There's definitely references to the fact that Guyan has a plan, and that she did not plan on Nadeko becoming a god, and how that was something that she did not foresee, and that might interfere with what she's got going on. There were a couple allusions to it, but it's definitely explicitly stated in Suki.
And Suki, they definitely hammer home, like in dialogue, that hey, you better stop using your fucking powers, or you're gonna go too far.
Mm-hmm. Which is cool. I like that conceit.
Which plays into that final fight with Paper Crane guy.
Well, I'm not really sure that could be called a fight.
Well, yeah, it's a fight, but it lasts like a second, or not even a second.
Yeah, because it's just fucking Yotsugi annihilating his entire body.
Yeah, I think I'm blanking now. Oh well, we'll come back to it. Anything else on Suki? Want to get to the meat of Owari here, but don't want to gloss over anything.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a shame how little real character, how little of a character arc Yotsugi gets, and I wish they had taken this opportunity to give her more of it.
Yeah.
Isn't there a couple short stories that feature her more in the books? Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
I have no idea.
I'm just looking at that chart, and down at the bottom, there's two, Yotsuki, Future, and Stress. And
I'd love it for those side stories to get adapted eventually.
We're probably gonna get them.
Yeah. We can't forget to talk about Koyomi actually, if we want to touch on that a little bit.
Well, Koyomi's after.
Yeah, that's after a while.
Yeah, that's fine.
You kind of spoiled.
I mean, it takes place all over the place, but it did get broadcasted afterwards, right?
Yes, it did.
Okay, well, do we want to touch on Ori then?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
It's got
I know. I'm excited for this.
it's got
so.
a spooky OP.
Yeah.
Spooky.
I think all of the Ori OPs are really good. Descent Black is awesome.
I don't.
Sodachi's OPs are good. I really liked the first episode of Owari. Maybe because it was the first Monogatari installment I got into when it was airing. But that first episode is like the double length episode 1 is super cool.
Hour-long bottle episode.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's the best kind of episode.
Starts really strong in on the intrigue surrounding Ogi, and then alludes to the whole Sodachi situation. Very cool.
I love the Sodachi arcs.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why they're separate arcs.
yeah. That's also very strange. Yeah, because it is very much one story.
Yeah.
I consider them as one. So
Um,
she's a very
I'm
good
actually not-
character.
She's a
definitely.
very interesting character, but man, I really hate her. She is a fucking bitch.
All your
think,
problems.
All of my problems are your fault, so fuck you and fuck everyone around you and just generally fuck you.
That fucking little fight scene between her and
Senjugahara? Yeah.
yeah.
You mean when she gets
Oh, that's
Knocked
fucking
the fuck
slapped?
out.
Yeah,
yeah.
so fucking good.
think,
Captain Bright would be proud.
I think we touched on it a little bit, but excellent voice performance by Sodachi. A couple of her monologues are
Yes.
fantastic. More so than a lot of the voice acting in this show, and that's already super good. So I think that they laid on the intrigue pretty well. Got you excited for the conclusion. Certainly got me excited for the conclusion. But also provided a very, very compelling one-off kind of self-contained story about Sodachi, which was unexpected, at least. I expected the first half of Ori to be more or less about Ogi, but they obviously saved that for the second half.
Well, it sets up what Ogi is really well, I
Yes,
think. I mean, I was able to guess it from like the third episode.
I mean, she has
They laid
it on
pitch,
really hard.
pitch black eyes.
The her kind of catchphrase was really what helped me figure out that whole situation.
Yeah. Especially because
She
she
said
says
something
it
in,
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she says, she talks in, when they're investigating her, Sodachi's old house, she says something about how, sometimes it feels like you're only born recently. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I like the little spit they have to decide who goes with Araragi to her house.
Oh yeah, that's right. Haneko has some good moments in the Sodachi arcs. Definitely.
Yes.
She does. And it's nice to see her with the tiger stripe hair.
Yeah,
ugh,
for
Cute.
sure.
ugh,
Oh, you don't like it?
it's
Little,
garbage.
little too hipster.
Tacky as shit.
I really like the kind of pinkish sweater that she wears at these later parts in the series. I think it's super cute.
I like that Sodachi, she didn't have any sort of aberration or anything.
Yeah,
There wasn't an
definitely.
oddity related to her. She was just fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Bat shit crazy.
Yeah, I liked that. This was an arc that focused around something that was not supernatural, but it made it feel supernatural, and then
Well,
I mean, it's probably worse than any of the
Wow.
supernatural stuff they've had to deal with.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
No,
it's significantly more scarring for Sodachi. Yeah.
well, it kind of is about the supernatural, though. Because it's a lot about Oogie. Or Ogi.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Not Ogi.
But,
Ogi.
Sodachi herself isn't being plagued by anything supernatural, at least.
Except a mental illness.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we
I hope-
were calling that
Is she
supernatural.
gonna show up in the last season?
Zoku?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, good.
It'd be a shame they just threw her away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would
Fuck.
be.
I'd be okay with it. I really don't like her.
I like her her OP too. The one in the
Yeah,
snow.
definitely. Hmm.
Our RPs look very sharp.
Yeah.
Nice. I like the similarities between her and Hanakawa, like with what she's been through and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah,
Well,
they're both troubled, but they both handled it in very different ways.
Yeah, like she's
Well-
what Hanakawa might have been if she wasn't
Yeah.
empty
if she
inside, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I thought that her and Ruka, sorry, in Hana
I
Monogatari.
always say Roka, but I don't know.
I can't remember her actual name, which I feel kind of bad about now. I felt that those two characters were very, very similar, and I would say more so than Sudachi and Hanekawa.
Mhm.
For the reasons I said back when we were talking about Hana, like how they've both let themselves become defined by something they feel is the fault of the protagonist,
Mhm.
and just fucking hate their guts.
Yeah.
Jealous bitches.
They're more similar in how they went about dealing with stuff, I guess, but
Mhm.
like in terms of what they've been through.
Yeah.
Fuck, let's just go on.
Anything else on Owari First Core?
Can't think of
Super
anything.
good. Oh, I think all the arcs are strong.
Math.
Yeah, math.
Lots of math. A lot to talk about math without doing math.
I think this arc would have been coming out while I was doing calculus, so
Oh, there you go.
I was not a
math.
fan of the math.
Not a fan of Euler.
No, because I had to do enough of that shit by hand. I didn't want to have to hear about it in anime.
So yeah, let's go on to talk about Koyomi just a tad. Not really much to say. Collection of short
Well-
stories.
Okay, I feel like we've forgotten the arc about
Yes.
the
Shinobu.
first minion somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah, it's the
can't
whole
remember where that goes
The whole
now.
second part of season 1 of Owari.
Mentally, I always put it.
Oh,
I
okay,
always
yeah.
put it with second season because I've watched it chronologically a couple times. So you're right. Yeah, that's
Shinobu
what my mind-
Shinobu male.
Yeah, Shinobu Mail is really good. I don't think it's quite as good as Sodachi's arcs, but I still think it's really cool and finally fully fleshes out where the hell Araragi is during Tsubasa Tiger.
yeah.
Very cool.
Is it so is it his armor that what's her face makes a sword out of that they allude to later on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Cuz I'm like where the fuck is what armor are they talking about? And
I
Leading up to,
didn't care too much for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was okay with it, and then there's like 2 episodes spent like explaining what was going on, just Guyan explaining what was happening. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
They went a little
Guyan-
far on the
Guyan-
dumps.
Yeah. I think Guyan's in an interesting spot where, like, since she does know everything, she most of the time just is a catalyst for info dumps. But
I mean, she's the character. She says she like knows everything.
yeah, I know. She claims to know everything and then backs it up by explaining
And then
everything.
does.
Yeah. Very interesting. I like that there's a funny little detail that after Aragi has that conversation with Guyan, he goes to buy porn of middle-aged women, which I thought was hilarious. But
He likes
Yeah.
buying porn of poorly timed porn purchases.
yeah,
He has a long
exactly.
history of it.
Yeah, solid. I think that the fight in Shinobu Mail is interesting because he actually outsmarts the first minion instead of overpowering him because he obviously can't. But
Sorry.
yeah,
Just whenever I hear minions, I think of Despicable Me.
Oh god,
alright.
cancer.
Oh,
Welcome
Fuck
to the
Someone
cancer
needs to make an
cast.
edit. Someone make an edit of that. A minion face over the armor.
no. If anyone listening to this does, I will fly from Scotland to wherever you live and fucking beat you to death with my sword.
Or your bagpipes.
No, I
Is
don't
your
have
sword the
bagpipes.
Aberration Slayer?
Yeah. Koyomimonogatari.
Maybe I should get that engraved onto the handle. Show off how much of a weeb I am.
Hi, weeboo des.
Yeah, I don't remember much from that second part.
I will say
all
that
of the...
I will say that I enjoyed the like last little bit of interactions between Shinobu and her minion. Just like how even though she, was eating him, she obviously had cared about him and was heartbroken that he had to die.
Yeah, definitely. I like that he comes back after being alluded to earlier during the backstory stuff in Shinobu time.
I mean, chronologically, this happens like
Chronologically,
right
it's
after
very
Shinobu
close.
time.
Yeah.
Happens before
which
the
is
end of
which is kind of coincidence, I guess. But yeah, very cool that when watching in broadcast, very cool that they go back to that because it fills in a lot of the gaps of second season.
And how he gets Koyomimonogatari.
Mm-hmm.
It's not seeing more combo.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
definitely.
always.
She's really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to go on to touching on Koyomi and then finishing it out?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Like I said earlier, Koyomi's a fun little collection of shorts. I like that a lot of them are very mundane stories, but it also doesn't make for very interesting stories. I'm glad that they're very short.
I like the one he had with Tsutsuki. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Tsukihi?
Yes.
Yes. Tsukiki.
That thing.
Okay.
The thing.
The Phoenix.
Yes.
The thing.
The one about like her tea ceremony club or whatever?
Yes.
That one?
Yeah. Basically being told, just lie to her, make her hear what she wants to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's cool, and maybe a little unsung that these shorts are all very mundane things. That not everything that our main characters come up against is an oddity. Not everything is going to be a full-blown apparition that's going to be a huge arc. Some of them are just, that's just a rock that somebody put inside your old fucking birdhouse.
When he
Stop thinking it's an oddity, jackass. Or oddity,
when
jackass.
he finds out it was something he made.
Yeah. And then of course, there's the big cliffhanger for Owari 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
I
so
didn't
fucking
see
hard
coming.
to get through.
Yeah, that was really
Like, you
kind of
get that,
fucking
and then you
came
have
out
to
of
wait.
nowhere.
Yeah.
Years.
Well,
For Owari
how
2.
long was it? Like year
It was
and
like
a
a year.
half?
This
Bit
chart
less than a year, I think.
chart says Koyomi came out in 2016, and that season 2 of
Mm,
came out in 2017.
Yeah.
So a
yeah.
year.
Well, it came out like 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago?
That's true. Yeah, the cliffhanger was super cool. Kind of a dick move that we had to wait that long, but still great.
I do like that they took a chance to actually sort of explore sort of the nature of oddities in this through the shorts. But other than that, I don't really have a lot of thoughts on it. Like, it's a nice little collection of short stories about Araragi just talking with all of the different characters, but they're short, so there's not much to them.
Another thing I liked that I forgot to mention is that they take place all over the chronology. It's super fun that they replay the OPs for each spot where they kind of slot in. and some of them make very minor references to things that have happened or things that will happen.
It's very annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying to remember to slot
Always
them in
fucking
if you're
forget
going to watch chronologically.
I think you could probably get away with skipping all of them except for the last 3. If you didn't want to...
Yeah, I know some people who don't like them or aren't interested in them, and
I mean, I didn't...
kind of a shame because I liked it.
I didn't watch them until prepping for Owari Season 2.
Yeah.
And should we talk
Any
about
more
that
thoughts
now?
on? Yeah, any more thoughts on Koyomi? Do we want to move on to the big one?
Yes.
The best one.
All right, very excited. Yeah, so Owari's second core, an incredible end to an incredible series.
The beginning,
as far as I'm concerned.
The beginning
Hopefully
is
not the
so
end.
good.
Yeah.
The payoff in the beginning is so good.
Yeah, the whole I thought the whole hellscape was super cool the way it was animated. It was very visually interesting.
Especially when it used the style of like the endings.
Mhm.
Christ, my voice just broke there. And again, it was sort of like the first episode of first season of Owari, where it's basically just 2 people talking for about 45 minutes, and then a third one shows up for the last 15 or so.
Yeah. It was very cool. I liked getting a little bit more backstory on Paper Crane guy, whose name I don't remember.
Tadatsuru, I believe.
There you go.
That sounds
I liked.
good enough.
Yeah. I liked that was kind of fleshed out a little bit. The fact that he was in hell waiting for him. Very interesting. Cool to get a little bit his side, because I mean he is one of the specialists that's part of the Oddity Club where all of the other specialists come from. So neat to see his side of the story, because we're very well acquainted with the rest of them.
When Shinobu is in full form when he comes out
God.
of hell, and she's
Ooh,
just walking down the
Jesus,
runway.
that's fucking scary.
Fantastic. I think her full power kiss shot design is really, really hot. She's very cool. Yeah, I don't know.
And then he gets the head pad this time.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah, I loved that he's just sitting in her lap.
That's
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great detail. Are we doing it arc by arc, or?
Well, no. Well, yeah, we can go.
I mean,
all
there's
over
only
this, yeah.
3 episodes, so...
I love seeing. I didn't really particularly care that much for Hachikuji until she died,
Mhm.
and but seeing her again I really liked seeing her again.
Yeah,
And,
it's really nice to have her back.
How it came back around to her stupid little joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love
God.
that. She gets to become a god, and then
She got it.
she gets to make that pun. Yeah.
Actually, I think that was
What
probably
else?
my favorite part of Koyomimonogatari. Just because, like, the very end is Araragi waking up and looking up at Hachikuji, so
Yeah.
that was fucking great.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, even like that intro part when it's like he's underwater, the way that's
Yeah.
animated.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think the production values on all of Owari 2 were crazy. They all looked really good.
I don't know if it... Well, I watched the last one on Crunchyroll, and I honestly didn't think it looked quite as good as the first 2 episodes.
Well, it had
Because that lower bit rate.
I mean that. Oh God! Don't bring
Well,
that up.
Well, we talked about Crunchy
What's that?
last week. Come on.
I think it's
Well, I
just
wasn't here.
Hell had like different, like just the way the light
Yeah.
was shining and
It was,
stuff
it
like
was
that.
very, very creative.
I mean, it might have also just been my Wi-Fi shitting itself, but, you know.
That's your problem. You're watching it in 360p.
It is
I,
entirely possible that that is actually my problem, but
Yeah, it could be. I really liked Hitagi Rendezvous. That date was cute.
It was.
God, that
that's
outfit,
such a stupid
that
grin on my face the
so-
whole
that
time.
ZR she's rocking.
Yeah. Whew. I love that the place she picked for the date was the planetarium. I thought that was adorable and called back to episode 12 really well.
They're supposed to go there in that episode, right?
I think something like that, yeah. But her love of the stars just is very endearing, and then her saying that she wants to become a astronomer or whatever.
Yeah, not an astrologer.
Not an astrologist. Well, that would make sense in Monogatari because they're a lot of the characters are based on astrological symbols. But yeah, no, I thought that was super cute. The fact that she wanted to beat Araragi in one of the things just so that she could do that. That one condition was adorable.
It was.
And she got her way anyway.
Yeah.
The ending bit of that arc was... I didn't really think the date was all that sweet up until that point. And then I got cancer.
Absolutely adorable.
I thought the whole episode was a really good highlight of just how much they care for one another.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Rendezvous was super good. Nice to see romance in Monogatari.
Yeah.
Because they very seldom actually use the fact that they have a couple, but very well done, I think. Makes me wish there was more of that in the series, but...
Well, inshallah, some of the side stories will show it.
Hopefully.
Depends on what you call romance.
Who else would you even be romance with?
Because the
I guess
best best character in the
brother
series,
sister romance.
Best character in the series gets close to Araragi.
Yeah. What was I going to say? So I guess we could talk about the end, Ogi's whole situation. We talked about it a little bit earlier, that the reveal was not exactly hard to guess, but I liked that they threw a lot of red herrings at you.
I did not guess
it.
Intentional
foreshadowing and things of that nature.
I love that. Yotsugi makes a mention. Yeah, it was very intentionally foreshadowed that she was the darkness. Haha, she's not. I thought that was so funny. It's like I placed a lot of very careful foreshadowing. But yeah, that reveal is super cool. I think it's really, really neat that Araragi has his own apparition because he's dealt with them the whole series.
I might have missed my chance to talk about this. Was in the second half?
No, go ahead.
Second half or the first half where they meet in the park, and there's that scene where like they zoom in on each character and they say their situation.
I know that there in Owari 1 there's a scene where they meet in the park. It's Kanbaru, Guyan, and
it was definitely in Owari 2. It's after they come back from
you're
hell.
talking.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yes.
Yeah.
You're talking about
where they meet
in the third episode.
Yeah.
Where they reveal that
what the plan.
The park was called.
Yeah, that's the first half.
That blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, the whole part of the episode was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was really cool that the Rainy Devil was Gyn.
Yeah.
Or Gyn's older sister, anyway.
Yeah.
She's Gyn too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, last name.
I just can't remember her first name.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. That actually sheds a lot of light on the stuff in Hana with Roko's whole thing. She's literally trying to become Kanbaru's mom, which is weird symbolically.
Weird. Yeah, that is really fucking weird now that I think about it.
Yeah, I thought that was super brilliant, but also very strange. I have to rewatch Hana now and try and figure out what the deal with that is, but very cool. Yeah, overall I thought it was just a very, very good ending to the whole narrative.
Fucking pumped that Mei came back.
Yes, best character returned.
Thank God. I was hoping it would happen, and as I got closer to the end of the episode, I'm like, are they not going to bring Oshino back? Please?
I thought in the back of my mind,
if they hadn't.
since they showed her alive or there in Hana. I was like, something's gonna happen where this whole situation is gonna be resolved. And when he showed up, I was like, oh, maybe Meme's gonna fix it somehow.
Yeah. Such an elegant solution to that problem too. And Meme just being like, yeah, she's my niece or whatever.
Well, it's like what they do in Shinobu Mail, where they intentionally get Hachikuji lost.
No, yeah, they in Shinobu Time.
Oh, Shinobu Time, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, it's the same thing they touched on. If the oddity fulfills its purpose, it can continue to exist. So, very cool.
And I love the parts with the Tsuki and Nadeko.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that was such a touching little conclusion to Nadeko's whole story.
And
cool.
the parts with Ogi and where she's talking to Tsuki was interesting too. Sort of provide more closure.
Yeah,
on her
I really liked
situation.
that it seemed like they went out of their way to give like pretty much every major character some form of closure. That's something that they very easily could have ignored and still made a good conclusion, but very cool.
That Owari season 2 and Tsuki had the best music in the entire series. Like this, like really like orchestral sounding pieces.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the music in the Monogatari series, at least to me, is it's good in the scenes, but I don't ever like go back and listen to it. I feel like maybe I should.
You should go back to
a
listen.
lot of the tunes,
at least the stuff in the final season. Like it's very like they're like really trying to dictate emotions and stuff through the music, and like not like a cheap sounding way like in some other low quality anime, but Eromanga Sensei.
I thought you said low quality anime.
Yeah, I mean that's high quality.
Oh, is it?
Highest. Yep.
I didn't know
Well,
trash
at the very
was
least,
high
the
quality.
animation was good.
It's the most highbrow shit, dude. You don't even get
The
it.
quality
It's
of
too
anime
deep
is
for you.
directly proportional to the amount of incest.
Oh, so
That's
That's
why
why
this show's
Monogatari is so good.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm actually gonna have what I think might be a somewhat unpopular opinion and say I really didn't like the third episode, or like, or at the very least, the way
the bowling
that they
episode.
were.
No, the third episode
Yeah,
is
third is
the act,
Ogi. What's that
Well,
called?
they're not technically
Ogi
even
Dark?
episodes because they combined a bunch of
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
yeah,
The-
Ogi
the
Dark.
third arc.
I did not like how they actually wrapped up the story. I thought it, like, for as much as it really isn't the end of their story, the way it was portrayed pretty much as, well, the final season, it felt just kind of meh to me.
It's interesting. Do you have like a specific complaint? Like,
Like-
is there something that you would have changed to make it a better ending? Or no, just kind of a general sense?
Probably would actually cut out most of what happens after the darkness goes away, if I'm honest. Or at least after they...
Yeah, you would have rather had it just end there?
I think
Oh,
I
you mean
would
like
have...
the part where they go back to school?
Yes.
Yeah, and they have the
Sorry.
graduation ceremony.
That
and
was
stuff.
kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting.
Who the fuck was that girl he ran after?
That I think was one of the things I didn't like.
Well, I think that it was like, I think the intention was that it was supposed to be like, oh look, there goes Araragi saving people again. That that guy, he never changes. I don't know, but
Adding one more to the harem.
yeah, exactly. It's like oh, he's still up to his same old ways, even though he was shown the fundamental flaws in his ideology. But yeah,
Just because
Oh.
other people might be right doesn't mean he's not.
Correct.
Correct.
We didn't touch about
That's true.
we didn't touch about his justice thing falling apart in Owari season 1.
Yeah, very cool conclusion to his personal character arc.
Yeah.
Well, isn't the conclusion kind of fuck my character arc? I like my sense of justice.
Well, I mean, I think that he's definitely acknowledging that the way he solves problems is not feasible. It's not a reasonable thing to do, to always be that self-sacrificing.
Like fucking Shiro from Fate.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Well,
except he
Shiro
acknowledges it, and then he
Aragi are two of my
immediately
favorite
starts
characters.
doing it again.
Yeah,
Like,
I think the like the point of it, like the message or whatever, was that it's okay to make mistakes. Like it doesn't
okay.
matter who, because I think Oshino pretty much says that when he shows up.
Mm-hmm.
That it doesn't matter whether you try to fix all your mistakes or try to correct everything or try to fuck.
Yeah, I have to look at
Just
the
forget
actual
everything.
lines.
Did they ever
yeah.
Did they ever explain why he was in Antarctica and what's her face was at the North Pole?
I think Ogi intentionally got them put there.
Oh.
Did it ever?
As far as I understood it,
Did it ever say
there
that?
there was some wizardry as far as like her. I'm trying to remember.
Because I don't
She-
That's what
remember
they.
so
that's what they
Ogi-
alluded
talked
to. Yeah.
about.
Ogi's a thing that has all the properties of the apparitions or aberration, whatever you want to call them, that they
Yeah.
encountered. So one of it was Mayoi's lost snail.
Oh,
So-
yeah, that makes sense.
She made
Oh.
him super lost.
Very lost.
As lost as you can be.
But why did Yost what's her face's?
Yotsugi?
Yeah, her master. Why did she want to stay in the North Pole? Because didn't they say that she decided to stay up there?
To fight polar
Yeah,
bears?
she liked fighting polar bears.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that was the explanation.
I think it was for so Yotsugi could stay with Araragi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was
think
probably
that
the
was-
real reason, but
that was the.
I did like that little bit.
I prefer fighting polar bears as an explanation.
I like that little bit where she said, "Yeah, I'm pretty much just gonna follow you wherever you go, no matter who you marry and stuff like that."
Yeah, very interesting.
I like that it had a happy ending. I
Yeah.
think that's like the last lines of it, and everybody lived happily ever after.
Yeah, I mean, cliches aside, I think it's super fitting.
Everything should have a happy
Cliches.
ending.
Yeah. And then, I mean, even then, with the with Hana being a thing, we know that everything isn't perfect after the end of this, but it's noticeably better.
Well, it worked out for Araragi since
Yeah, at least with
Yeah.
regard to Aragi. Yeah.
still in a relationship and still, got that side thing with the sisters.
In college, has very long hair.
Very long hair, Jesus Christ.
Well, he inherited
that
all the
point.
hair. I mean, all the girls cut their hair.
Ooh.
He took it into himself.
Oh,
That's one of his powers as a vampire.
Fucking boo.
Hair
so
absorption.
Inherited it.
is
Oh.
I haven't checked Mal the last week, but is the second season still #1 spot? And does it deserve that on its own merit, or is it just because it's the conclusion to the series and everyone's rating it as like?
I think if it was a bad conclusion, then obviously it would be nowhere near the top. I think it's a merit thing, but also Mal favors sequels very heavily.
It's ranked number 3.
Oh
by the way.
no!
Ah. What's number
Point.
2 and 1?
Kimi no Nawa and Full Metal
Yes.
Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah. The greatest movie and anime of all time.
Oh god.
Yikes.
Yeah, I
think
wouldn't
it's.
disagree with either of those, but that's.
I think it definitely. Owari's second season, I think it definitely deserves to be on the first page of Mal Top Anime.
So I mean, the nature of the show is to conclude things, and it does that
Yeah.
perfectly,
Yeah.
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 or
It
very
does-
very close to perfectly.
Yes. I think.
Besides maybe the. ending of the show.
I've made my grievances clear.
Yeah, for sure.
I I gave it a 10 for pretty much the same reason I gave Zan Zetsubo Sensei a 10, because it just ended the series extremely well. If it was by itself, I don't think I would have.
I mean, I don't think it really can be by itself, because on its own thing, it is an ending, and but
I think some
I think
of it can be.
All right. But I think intrinsically it is an ending, so it should be judged on that.
It's definitely ending the main, unless this new season coming out follows up on this. It definitely feels like it's ending the whole, like all the stuff that's been going on around.
Zoku's basically an epilogue.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of scores, I think I might have mentioned this earlier, but I'm having one of the most difficult times ever trying to figure out what score to give Owari, just because the way I usually go about it is I just give it the lowest score I think a show deserves, but I feel like it both deserves a 9 and a 10, because like if it had just been the first 2 episodes, like I absolutely would have given this a 10, but I don't know, there's just something weird about the 3rd episode that makes me want to give it a 10, but maybe not quite as much as my 2 other 10s.
Yeah, the ratings are weird sometimes.
They are.
Especially for long-standing franchises. Mal does not make it easy to rate the whole series as something.
It would be a lot nicer if they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that way Gintama wasn't dominating so many top spots.
Yeah.
Fucking half of the
weird.
top 1,000 or whatever the hell it is.
The top 1,000.
Yeah.
500 seasons of
500
Gintama.
seasons of Gintama.
It's a season
I
per
wouldn't
episode.
be surprised.
I think there's only like 4 seasons of Gintama.
And a couple movies, I think, right?
Yeah.
I have to catch up on it. It's so daunting.
Yeah.
It is. It took me 2.5 years.
Jesus
I finished
fucking Christ.
the first season, and then I got like halfway through the second one, and I was like, I need a break, and that break's lasted like 3 years.
Yeah.
I love the second season.
Do we want to
Talk about Gintama?
Best.
No.
Yeah, do we want to keep going?
Girl.
No, we shouldn't.
Yeah, we need
talk
to
about
make the definitive best
favorite
girl
best girl.
decisions
Yes,
here.
best girls.
You know, it's
Anyone
weird
wanna
with
volunteer?
Monogatari. I more often see like the girls ranked in order of attractiveness than I do people.
People having their particular
talking about
preferences
who's
Well,
best.
in that case, it's the same one because it's Karen.
Karen's
I'll
a
be
solid
honest.
pick.
You're not that wrong.
Kanbaru.
Her
Kanbaru all the way.
character's so interesting.
Kanbar is also my pick. Just my favorite.
I
Though
don't like.
my
Hanekawa is
favorite
very,
is-
very close.
I'm not a huge fan of her clothes selection in second season. They're like super baggy
Yeah.
clothes. That kind of made me a little bit watching it.
Well, wasn't she wearing super baggy clothes in the second season because hers got ripped off
Yeah.
in
Wait.
Mail?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Her sweatshirt gets ripped
Kanbar.
like along the front.
Oh,
And so she trades with Aragi, which is why he's wearing
She had a
like
bunch
a
of
reddish
underboob
pink
going on.
sweatshirt. Yeah.
My
Kanbar's
favorite
super good.
is Nadeko.
Awesome.
okay.
I was hoping somebody would pick her.
Yeah.
I mean, her arcs are my favorite.
Yeah,
So,
undoubtedly.
She is definitely a very intriguing character, but she is one that I would absolutely loathe to be around.
Well, yeah,
I
I
hate
mean,
fucking Hanekawa.
that's
She's so goddamn annoying. I don't
So
know
what about
what
her is
to know.
annoying?
I only know what to know. Fucking. God, shut the hell up.
That's funny.
I don't know everything. I just know what to know.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
loved it when
everything.
Guy just shut her the fuck down.
Yeah.
And,
I know
Tiger.
everything.
I know everything, and I can fucking prove it.
Yeah.
I love Gaian's character model.
I do too.
her whole design.
She has
yeah.
a nice design.
Super cool.
It's weird to think that she's like as old as Kaiki is, basically.
Yeah. She's like 40 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just anime, man. Mom's looking like the daughters.
Yeah, just look at
Anime
Araragi's
has
mom.
a thing with MILFs.
Monoragi.
I also really like Yotsugi. I think she's very underrated when best girl discussion comes up.
She's also a good one.
She's
I
good
said
for
with
a
the
foot
first
fetishist.
look.
I adore her design. She's one of my favorite character designs.
She has probably my favorite OP.
Yeah. And she's got some great figures. We're talking merch. She's got some
Fucking hell.
some good ones.
She's
Really?
got great figures.
Yeah, let me get all filthy
you-
weave and talk about
you had-
anime figures.
I was very weirded out for a second, and then I was slightly less weirded out. Because I thought you were talking about her figure.
She has a great figure. No, she definitely doesn't. But yeah.
She might if you're into that sort of thing. If you really like feet.
Very interesting.
She's like
Something very interesting to note, which might get weird. Yotsugi, at one point in Suki, Yotsugi and Araragi are walking up to the shrine to confront Origami Guy.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he's peering up her skirt and remarks at how weird her panties are. There's never a full shot, so you don't actually get to see it. But
Like literally, it grabs the back of her skirt and like lifts it up, though.
one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries is what the hell her panties look like.
I love her
I think
character
I'm
model
fine
too.
without that being solved.
I mean, I've seen
I
I've
don't-
seen some
I bet that was.
I don't think there was a shot, as far as I know.
I've seen some side
I'm
side
totally good with
stories about it.
It
What
it'd
about
take
her
too many
panties?
pages in the book, so he decided not to
yeah.
describe.
I love her voice actor. I think the most out of all of them.
Sari Hayami?
Is she the one who did
Ayama?
the sister in Magic High School?
Yes.
Yeah.
She is the Sasuga Onisama guy.
Yes.
Girl.
I love her.
And she's also Shirayuki, where
Oh,
she
yeah.
is significantly better than she is in the irregular Magic High School or whatever the fuck the show's called.
Yep.
I like the amount of overlap between Shaft shows and voice actors.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that they'll bring on a lot of the same people, because you can tell just from the visuals and just from a couple of the voices. Oh, this is a Shaft show.
I mean, Araragi. As soon as I
Yeah.
hear his voice, I'm like, oh, it's the Araragi dude, like in any other show.
Hiroshi Kami is
I
fantastic.
mean, he does use pretty much the same voice in every.
Yeah, he
Yep.
really doesn't change it very much.
And Miyuki Sawashiro is probably the same.
Yeah.
No, not as far as Shaft shows go.
Oh,
Oh, absolutely not. She
all right.
I've only
she
seen
plays
what else-
What else
Maria
does she?
in Zetsubo Sensei.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Which is
I don't know that.
Kind of fucking
so-
crazy.
yeah. She's just she's a very minor character in Hidamari, so you don't really hear her very much. She's just Oya-san, just kind of the landlady. But yeah. Any more best girl talk? Anything else?
The
We're nearing
problem
end
with
here.
Monogatari is that basically all of them are best girl.
Yeah.
They're all best
Except
girl
for
material,
Naruto.
except for her.
Oh,
I mean, one thing we can all agree on is Kaiki is best girl.
Yes.
yes.
No, because I fucking hate that meme.
Going to beat that meme to death. I'm going to make that meme.
I will beat you to death.
whoa.
Fight me.
It's
I'll
just
just come back.
Yeah,
Talk about
dude.
meat.
Yeah.
the writing, the character models. It's just like everything together just makes all of them so good.
It's absolutely one of
Yeah,
my
for
favorite
sure.
franchises. Yes,
Yeah, one of the more memorable casts in anime, I think.
at least in recent years.
More in School Days.
Yeah, recently.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Days.
no, School Days is better because School Days has a nice boat.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Monogatari really
It
doesn't
actually
have
does.
very many nice boats.
It actually is a very nice boat, but
Yeah, go watch.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully someone who hasn't seen it
Go
didn't
watch
read
School Days.
listen to all this because then they're gonna be spoiled.
Yeah, go watch School Days.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, definitely a fantastic series. One that I'm sure we're all big fans of.
I think
Otherwise, we would talk
Sayanji's
for
best
almost
girl.
3 hours
It's
about
tough to know when to
And-
recommend it to someone though, because it's like
it.
it's a
hard
it's
show
a
to
much
recommend.
watch, but due to the some elements of it, it makes it a
Yeah.
little
I
difficult.
think if
It's a
they're
tad
willing to
obtuse,
say they're an
generally.
anime fan, it's probably a decently safe bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically watch
Cool.
watch all the mainstream best ones, I guess, first before you dive into Monogatari.
You gotta
Yeah.
go in order from Mal's ranking. So you gotta watch Brotherhood and Your Name
Brotherhood,
first.
Your Name, and then Owari
Yeah, I mean,
Season 2.
that's the definitive watchover for Monogatari. Just go
Yeah.
down Mal's top 50.
You gotta watch Kimi no Nawa, then
Yeah.
Brotherhood, then the first season of Gintama.
I thought
I
Owari
think the
was
last
season 3.
season of Gintama is farther up there, isn't it? I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
it's only
I haven't-
like-
I haven't
Well,
looked at
due to
top
the
in a
nature,
while.
It's
it's
not as
like-
many episodes.
The scores only count if you like watch what, a fifth of the show,
Yeah.
and the only
It's
people who are gonna watch a fifth of the
interesting.
show are the ones who are really into it. So it seems like the
Yeah.
later seasons always get way higher
hmm
scores.
Which, in that sense, I guess, second season of Owari is more fairly rated because it's not that long. So-
Yeah.
I don't know.
Plus, I mean,
Okay.
if someone really hates the show,
There's sequel bloat, but
if someone really hates the show, they'll make an account and then say they watched at least a fifth of it, and then
Yeah.
download it to hell just because they're petty.
And then some people do that out of spite without even knowing what the hell it is.
Oh, it's popular. Oh god, give it a bad
Yeah.
rating.
hate it.
So, what are you guys' highest rated entries into Monogatari?
Very good
Ooh,
question.
Bake,
That depends.
Bake and Nise and Owari season 2 have 10s for me,
Very cool.
and then the rest I think are at least they're 8 or above. I think Hana is the one I rated the lowest.
I think me too.
Yeah.
I have
Um,
Bake is a 9, everything else is a 7 or an 8, except for Owari, which I'm still trying to decide on.
do you just have it unrated, or?
Actually, don't have it on my Mal yet.
Owari season 2, unrated.
Yeah.
Oh, baby, that's the real conclusion we need.
You can finally see. Oh fuck! I forgot her name already. God damn, we just talking about her panties.
Hanba?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yo.
Yeah.
No, we'll get to see Aragi walk Gahara home gently.
Yeah. Yeah, I have Monogatari second season at a 10. And I have, or no, I'm sorry, I think it's at 9. And I have both parts of Owari at the same rating, so 9.
I
So
got,
those are my favorites.
I got Owari 2 at 10. And then my next two are Nise and Bake at 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then my lowest are Kizu 3, I think, and Hana. They're like 5 or 6.
Yeah, seems about right.
Yeah, I don't go lower than a 8.
So, are we going
On
to talk
this
about
series.
Katanagatari as well?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean,
and-
it's part of the series.
I feel
And
so bad when
Owarimonogatari.
people ask when they need to watch that in the series. I'm like, that's not part of it.
It takes place hundreds of years
You watch
before
it
the
after
series.
second
It's very
season.
important. Yeah.
It was written by the same guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I might actually like it better.
I like
Alright.
Katanagatari a lot.
Well, that one
Good
it
show.
benefits from having an hour-long episodes or 40-minute whatever
It does.
Yeah.
episodes.
I love that release structure. I wish more shows tried that.
But then you have to wait longer.
Oh no, instant gratification.
Well, if they just
But,
put it
yeah.
on Netflix, and nobody will have to worry.
Yeah,
exactly.
no
one
Have
would
to
be able
wait
to
forever
watch
to
it
watch it. Excellent. All right. Any last thoughts?
Fucking go watch the Monogatari series.
It's great. Basically, we need to put a timestamp in to this point where we just say, go watch it if someone hasn't watched it yet.
Yep, definitely.
Well, we need to buy time for 15 more minutes so you can make it in even 3 hours.
No.
No. Seriously, no.
So the toothbrush scene,
Oh, let's talk about that some more.
No, yeah, I'm good. All right. This has been episode 5 of the Chinese Cartoon Cast. Thanks for listening, everybody who made it this far.
All 2 of
Go
you.
home.
this was the Freedom Day stream.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it is Labor Day, isn't it?
America.
It is not Memorial Day,
Fuck yeah.
if anyone's curious.
Yeah, not Memorial Day. No.
Freedom of the workers.
I
Yeah.
forgot.
Work.
It's a communist
Somebody,
holiday.
when I was recruiting people for my fantasy football league,
Mhm.
if any of you are interested, please join, by the way. Somebody said, "Oh, well, we got today off because it's Memorial Day," and I was like, "The
No.
fuck?"
You're wrong. Please stop. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
I'm doing this recording right now.
The intro and outro music was provided by our boy Ringo at ringo-scar.bandcamp.com, and the background music was straight from www.bensound.com. Links are in the description below.